Good evening, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. It is morning, and obviously shows because my mind is a mess. But we are here to talk about all the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, February 16th. And in this show, we're doing a special. We're also going to be talking about next week's comics on Final Order Cutoff, Monday, February 23rd. We have two incredible guests, so it is a double entertaining show with twice as many comics, twice as many guests, and twice as much fun. So stay tuned after these messages so you can enjoy it all.
Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
All right, and this week we're talking about the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, February 16th. And at the end of the show, we're also going to cover the following Monday, February 23rd. So you're going to get two incredible weeks of Final Order Cutoff in one show and two amazing guests. But to talk about Final Order Cutoff, we obviously have to talk about the two websites where you're going to find everything on Final Order Cutoff, right, Kyle?
We do, and it occurs to me, Matthias, that I can't see next week's PRH Final Order Cutoff, so I am ordering in the dark.
Yes. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to it a little bit later in the show. But if you want to see the PRH stuff on FOC this Monday, February 16th, you can see right there on the website behind me and Kyle. This is prhcomics.com. It is the home of Penguin Random House Distribution, and they, of course, want to focus on all the books that are up for order this Monday on Final Order Cutoff. So you can see at prhcomics.com, you can click this link. Clicking it will get you all of the Marvel, Boom, Distillery, Ignition, IDW, Dark Horse, Kodansha, Square Enix, Seven Seas, and more books that are on FOC. So clicking on this wonderful link right here will bring you to this delightful website with everything on FOC this Monday. We always recommend alphabetizing it, sorting it A to Z, so you can easily find and read everything. And you don't want to miss out. Some great books on FOC this week. But some of you out there, I'm sure, are saying, I want to see the DC books, the Image books, the Oni, the Dynamite, and other publishers that aren't available through Penguin Random House. And for that, we always advise you to go over to lunardistribution.com. Lunardistribution.com will get you this wonderful website right here, where you can scroll down a small bit to upcoming FOC, make sure you're on the right date, and you can see the incredible list of comics that they have available on FOC. Always worth taking a look at, but with this show, we want to emphasize the big ones, the new storylines, the new series, the hot covers, and the things we think are going to change the way you read comics. Because It's been a while since Lunar Distribution has opened up an FOC with something that doesn't have the word absolute in it. But we thankfully have a guest who is the man who is going to break that rule, bringing a Mad Cave comic to the very first piece of FOC at Lunar Distribution, writer of the new series 51. I would like to introduce the incredible Kurt Pierce.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Hey, Kurt. So, I mean, you're the first book to, well over a year to get in front of Absolute. Are you thinking to get on top of them as well in sales?
Yeah, exactly. I want at least 500,000 in sales. I think it's easily doable for us, right? We're number one, which is it's so funny because I never even thought about that when I was naming it, but like that's actually a great benefit to having the name we have. You get to the very top of the list, right?
That's it. So, why is the series called 51?
So it's named for Area 51. It's the sort of pitch for the series that I gave to Mad Cave and I sort of give to everyone is it's sort of like Manhattan Projects meets 8 billion genies. So it's a story about the troublemaking son of a president who gets arrested and gets sort of bailed out of jail, and to to uh, to atone for his sins, he's sent to work at Area 51, which is a real place in this world, and it's not exactly as exciting as it would seem. It's sort of like working in a Amazon warehouse job, and he's working with all these other misfits and troublemakers, and they get into some hijinks and shenanigans and inadvertently cause all the secrets from Area 51 to leak out, and they find themselves having to sort of put the genie back in the bottle and stumble onto a big conspiracy. So it's a big fun comic with lots of action and big ideas that taps into like conspiracy theory stuff, and sort of has like a gonzo energy. It's sort of like if uh, Hunter S. Thompson or Garth Ennis rewrote like the Department of Truth or something like that. So it's got all the aliens and stuff, but we're having a lot of fun with it, and it's sort of just trying to make the most fun and comic book version of the story that we could.
I love it. And it's the one thing that breaks bipartisanship. No matter what, Democrat, Republican, you're going to have a presidential son who's a screw up.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing too. I'd flag for people is that even though there's the core of the story is sort of obviously inspired by the Hunter Biden stuff. I'm not in. It's not like it's not a political story. I'm not. I have no interest in talking down to everyone or getting into that. I think if people want to do that, they watch the news or go yell at each other on social media. This is just about a fun comic book inspired by a real American hero, Hunter Biden, who, you know, loves crack cocaine and, spending time with escorts, which is, I think, as American as it can get. So I just wanted to salute an American hero and make a fun comic book.
Absolutely. All right. So obviously dealing with the concept of Area 51 and looking at this cover, I believe that's Jock who did that cover, correct?
Yeah, so that's done by our series artist Jock, who's really great artist. He did an image book with John Layman. He did another Mad Cave book that was cool as well. But I think this is like poised to be kind of his breakout book. There's just lots of really fun stuff for him to draw, and I'm always trying to give the artists like room to flex their muscles and showcase their talents. And he's really excelling on this book. So there's some beautiful work. And then we also have a variant cover by Michael A. Von Oming does our B cover and for number one, and I'm a huge fan of Mike's, and Powers is one of my favorite books, so it's was thrilled to have him do that. And then yeah, on screen right now, this is our cover for number two, where it's this is issue two, sort of showcases a story in a small town where all these kids are missing, and there's aliens involved in this, and maybe the kids are being controlled by the alien to do something. But each issue has sort of its own. It's sort of episodic in a way, sort of like the Matt Fraction David Aja Hawkeye comic was, but like it still pushes forward the ongoing story. So it's gonna be satisfying to read in single issues, but also like there's a ongoing narrative thread that continues across each issue and builds.
Awesome. So you've obviously hinted at with Area 51, we have some aliens involved. Is there another item or concept hidden away in this Area 51, Hangar 51 base that is one of your favorites to deal with?
There's a lot of fun stuff. Issue one, there's a giant Rob Liefeld inspired gun, which we see the guys get that they have to get back from sort of like some criminals who steal it. There's there's like giant mech suits. There's Iron Man suits. There's kaiju's. There's pretty much anything fun that you could think that might be in Area 51. We tried to jam in here. So it's like really again, it's an insane comic filled with lots of fun and lots of big ideas and action. So we're definitely having a lot of fun playing with the concept of Area 51 and what might be hidden in there.
So I have to ask then, for the president's son who is being punished by being placed on duty at this Area 51, how is it like an Amazon warehouse? This sounds like it's a place full of all the fun stuff.
Because everything, it's sort of like you know at the ending of Raiders of the Lost Ark when you see they're boxing up the Ark of the Covenant. It's just the warehouse full of these boxes. It's like that. So it's like working at a Amazon shipping center for him. They receive the boxes and the containers that have this stuff, but they don't get to look at it. They just have to sort of process it and put it in a warehouse. So it's like if you worked at Amazon or UPS or this sort of thing. So they're just sort of doing manual labor and basically working at the receiving these items that go into the warehouse, and that sort of motivates the boredom that causes them to act out and sort of uh, causes a big mess, which is a sort of inciting incident of our series where the Area 51 gets compromised and all this stuff sort of leaks out.
Awesome. So that'll be 8 issues starting this March, but that is hardly the only thing you're writing at the moment. You have an incredible series of Distillery and an amazing one at Image. One of my favorite things Image is putting out right now, Lost Fantasy. Can you tell us all a little bit about Lost Fantasy?
Yeah, so Lost Fantasy, the quick pitch I kind of give for it is it's sort of like Something's Killing the Children's meets like East of West Smash Against Harry Potter. So it's sort of a police procedural with like high fantasy elements, but really wanted to like ground it and make it exciting and accessible and not like, daunting to get into like the way a lot of fantasy is. So it's about a world where there's a hidden magical world beneath the fabric of our own, sort of again the same way that in Harry Potter there's Hogwarts, all that stuff exists right beneath ours. And when things cross over into our world that will hurt or harm people or kill them, there's sort of agents who are responsible for containing these threats, and one of these agents is a 20-something kid named Henry Blackheart who wields a giant sword that's very much inspired by like Berserk and Final Fantasy, and we're sort of following him as he's investigating these cases and sort of solving cases that hit close to home and eventually uncovering a big broad conspiracy that has to deal with him.
Yeah. I mean, we're having just wrapped the first storyline, and I gotta say, the comparative to Final Fantasy, I definitely love it and see it, but you guys don't pull away from that. In fact, many of the variants you guys do are nods to classic games like Final Fantasy VII right there. What led to that approach? Because I know that's something that got a lot of people to pick it up off the shelves and give it a shot.
Well, exactly. I think I loved that a lot of specifically there's some great movie homage variants happening especially I liked the the homages that like they're doing on Stray Dogs and Feral, right? Like uh Tony Fleeks and his crew. And so I was sort of thinking, this book's so inspired by a lot of video games. Why don't we just do these homage variants? And people were so excited by our initial one, the Final Fantasy VII homage, that we sort of kept doing them, and now it's become kind of like my bread and butter, where we're doing a lot of these really exciting video game variants, and on a lot of the new series, we're doing uh, other sort of homages and stuff. It's sort of like just an exciting way to uh, get people in the shops, right? If I think, like, I'm always trying to find a way to, if someone's just walking through the shop, to pull their attention, and it's like, well, a really easy way is if they love this video game, and then there's, on one of our covers that pulls them in and gives them an opportunity for, like, the store owners or store workers to sort of pitch them the book and tell them what it's about, right? So it's like very economically speaking, it's just a way to grab their attention, which I think is something you're always trying to do, because there's so many comics coming out, especially when you're competing with Big Two and stuff. So that's really great, and then it's also just a way to pay homage to the stuff that inspired us and the stuff that we love, because we are fans of all this stuff as well.
Absolutely. I mean, and I've loved Blackheart on the covers for the opening story arc, but it seems like as we get around issue 7, 8, and 9, we start seeing more characters making a cover appearance. Can you talk to us about Arc 2 of Lost Fantasy and how that's going to be leading into the big event in issue 9?
Yeah, so Arc 2 of Lost Fantasy is it starts with uh an attack on Henry's father, who is the sort of the leader of one of the five great houses of hunters who sort of police the world beneath, and help work with the law enforcement in our world to protect our world from the creatures that go bump in the night and are going to hurt people. And so arc 2 starts with an attack on Henry's father, and Henry sort of solving that mystery. And as he goes through it, he's finding out more about his past and who the person has attacked his father, and sort of a big conspiracy that we set up in our very first issue. There's like one panel in it that's one of the most important panels in the series that sort of comes back in a big way in issue 8. And then along the way, we're introduced to this new character here, which is shown on the screen, is called Bombshell, who's like a flame of Henry's who helps him out, who you know, is really interesting character in her own right, who in issue 9 is going to be starting to get her own backup. Uh, so that's written by Timmy Heeg, a really talented writer, as well as comic shop owner, and drawn by Eamon Winkle. And then issue 9 as well is really big, because that issue directly ties into and sets up the launch of our first Lost Fantasy spin-off, Fireborn. So Lost Fantasy 9 and Fireborn #1 are out the same day, and they're sort of connected to each other. So if you just want to read Fireborn #1, you can read that. But if you read Lost Fantasy 9 as well, you will get sort of the full experience. So it's sort of us trying to be very smart and expand our story in like an exciting way. Uh, but Fireborn #1, just to give a quick pitch on it, since we're talking about it, sort of uh, a fantasy superhero mashup that we're sort of pitching as like Invincible meets How to Train Your Dragon. So it's about a New York kid who's got a rich father who wants nothing to do with him. Think one of Elon Musk's children. Uh, and one day after school, he comes into contact with the last dragon egg that's been smuggled into New York City. And when he connects with it, it gives him these superpowers, which you kind of see on display here. But it also causes all these bounty hunters, killers, thugs a whole world of assassins to come after him because this dragon egg is one of the most valuable things in the universe. And so it sort of puts this unassuming kid on a crash course with the entire world of Lost Fantasy and having to fight for his survival. So it's a really exciting, high octane comic with huge moments and huge fights. And that was being co-written by Franklin Jonas, one of the Jonas brothers, and drawn by Patrick Mulholland, who's a very talented artist.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this one looks really exciting, and it's so kind of you to take this unknown comic writer, this no one's ever heard of Franklin Jonas, and bring him into the spotlight finally. But
Right, exactly. No one's ever heard of the Jonas Brothers. It's an active, immense charity for me to bring in this unknown writer. No, but it's like Franklin is great because he was a fan of Lost Fantasy and has done a lot of stuff moderating uh, panels for Image and just promoting comics he loves. And so we connected and ended up chatting, and we were talking a lot about the ideas I was having for this book, and he was sort of pitching me ideas, and so he's really contributed a lot to not only Fireborn but like Lost Fantasy, where he's done a few backups and created characters. So Franklin's very talented, and I think people will be really impressed with the work he's doing on these books. I know it's like there's so many like celebrity comics and stuff that like frankly like suck. And so like going into this I knew we had had to make it as good as possible because we don't want to be one of the ones where you read it and you say like what was that, right? So we've definitely put a lot of effort and time into making the book as good as possible, and I think people will have a lot of fun with it and be impressed by what Franklin's bringing to the table.
oh, absolutely. I mean, with a pitch like it's Invincible meets How to Train Your Dragon, or I've even heard, How to Train Your Dragon meets Absolute Batman, like that is an instant you have to pick this up. But then when you throw on covers homaging Invincible and Absolute Batman, it gets even more amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about the artist on this? Because this has me very intrigued to open up and see these pages.
Yeah, so Patrick Mulholland is the artist of the interiors and has done these covers, and so like we're talking about with Lost Fantasy, we're doing these video game homage covers, which people were loving, and so with this book, it's more of a superhero book, and so we thought, well, the way with Fireborn, we can do a version of these homage covers that's exciting. So we're homaging the comics and books that inspired the series. So for issue one, we have Absolute Batman and Invincible. Issue two, we have a homage to Spawn #1. Issue three, we have homage to the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, the early 2000s Bendis one of my favorite comics. So like each issue is gonna have these homage variants that fans can collect and sort of just really just trying to like do the same thing we're doing with Lost Fantasy, where we're giving people like it's a fun way to pull people into the book, and like people love to collect comics as well, and so if we can give you a exciting variant cover that's only $5 more to pick up, then it's I think it's great because I'm do the same thing when there's a book I'm really excited about, like I'll buy a couple different covers on it. So I think it's just a great way to like sell more books and give people something that is going to bring them joy in it and add to their collection.
Absolutely. I mean, as we just talked a few weeks ago with Brett Bean of Dork, that was obviously one that we kind of predicted and blew up. I think this is going to be the next big one. Maybe this will be a $75 book within, 2 or 3 days after release.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. I get a bunch of comps if it's $75 a couple days after release. I'll have a good little payday there.
All right. So Lost Fantasy issue 8 is coming up on March 4th. We just FOC'd it last week. But issue 9, which is the big one that is going to have the backup by Timmy and the co-written story with Franklin that leads into Fireborn. That FOC's the very end of this month, March 3rd, or sorry, the very end of next month, March 30th, for a April 22nd release alongside Fireborn #1, which has the same FOC date and release date. So you're going to have a big April, it looks like.
Yeah, so that those both are out the same day, and then also out the same day as those is a second trade paperback. So the idea is that like if people are like catching up on the book, when they go to the store, there'll be a whole like sort of suite of products and story for them to pick up because uh, I always love when you have like an issue in the trade out the same days because it can kind of you don't have to wait for the next trade, and I think it's a great way to like get people to jump on the singles as well. And so we did that with the first volume and issue 5 of Lost Fantasy, and now with the second trade out, we got Fireborn and Lost Fantasy 9 the same day, so everyone will be able to check those out and sort of hop aboard the story.
Perfect synergy. And then adding to it, it keeps you coming back to the shops. So with Lost Fantasy #8, you're looking at a March 4th release. 51 issue #1 hits March 11th. You have the big Lost Fantasy Trade 2, Lost Fantasy 9, and Fireborn on April 22nd. And then you have to come back just 7 days later for 51 #2. I like that. We're going to have Kurt in stores. You have to, if you're following Kurt, every other week you need to be in there.
Exactly, and then getting announced this week coming up, we have a really exciting project with Oni Press that I'm creating with Juan Gedeon, who's done Jurassic League and Cowboys of Moon Mesa. That's going to be debuting in July. So we have like a lot of really great projects coming out that hopefully will just keep people bring people to stores and that they'll enjoy.
Absolutely. So for those of you guys who are curious, you're going to want to pay attention as we get in news next week from Comics Pro, the professional retail organization conference, where I believe Oni will be announcing Kurt's new project.
Yeah, I think it's getting announced Tuesday, unless it changes. But so it'll be the day before Comics Pro, and then we'll be able to talk about it there and sign some stuff for all the great retailers who were there, and then also at Comics Pro, Franklin and I will be appearing to promote Fireborn, and we'll be doing some prints and just signing and trying to give some stuff away to retailers to thank them for all the support of all the different projects and just all the great stuff they do, because it's kind of like we're all sort of in this together, especially me. It's like I do these books and I'm creating them from the ground up, and so it's not like it's like Batman where people are just going to come to the stores and buy it. So like really appreciate all the support from retailers and our readers, and so this is just a nice way to thank them and get everyone excited for Fireborn and the upcoming Lost Fantasy stuff.
I love it. All right, guys. So if you want to learn more about Kurt, you want to keep up with all the updates and perhaps future spin-offs of Lost Fantasy with other big name creators, where can people find you online, Kurt?
So I'm on Instagram. It's it's my full name. It's Kurt Antonio Piers. And then I also have a newsletter, which is substack.com/tech content. That's my company name. So any of those work. And yeah, again, we just appreciate everyone checking the books out, and those are great ways to stay up to date on everything.
Awesome. All right, so make sure you subscribe and follow Kurt, especially so you can get that firsthand, immediate news about his big new release next week. Get your orders in this Monday for 51 issue #1, and let your comic shop know you want to either make sure you're on Lost Fantasy and Fireborn or get the trade paperback so you can catch up. Volume 1 is in stores now.
Exactly. Lots of good stuff for people to pick up.
All right. Thank you so much, Kurt. I'll see you next week at Comics Pro, and hopefully we can have you back when we can talk about this upcoming Oni project.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me, and yeah, I'll see everyone is at next week at Comics Pro. Hopefully, looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much, Kurt. All right. But that's not the only guest we have, is it, Kyle?
I just put myself back on screen because I was going to talk about bonus Jonas, but
I'd
much rather talk about
it.
Right. I'd much rather talk about some of my favorite people who work with our next guest. So people who I will see the next week when I go to Baltimore. So let's why don't we just bring in the next guy?
All right. The man who has brought us the most emotional tales of animals of any type, whether they're ponies, dogs, or cats, the incredible Tony Fleece.
That's me, Mr. Ponies, Dogs, and Cats. I'm at a My Little Pony convention right now. I can't get these ponies to leave me alone, but I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk about much darker things.
Much darker things. Darker, I mean, look, I get that the ponies are pretty light, but you've told tales about serial killers and stray dogs. You've talked about zombie viruses with kittens.
Yeah.
Like, what could possibly be darker than any of that?
Deathstroke, the Terminator.
Oh,
He goes.
we just lost Tony. 1 second.
What's going
All
on?
right, Tony, do we still there? There it is. Yeah. So Deathstroke the Terminator, man, he terminated you.
Trying to sabotage me? Was that a real dog or is that dog sound?
That was a real dog. I had
Let's see this guy.
this poor little boy right here got a little too freaked out about Deathstroke the Terminator.
Oh, but he's scary. He's a scary man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So tell us about Deathstroke.
Part of the DC's Next Level. It comes out in March. It's
March 18th.
It's me and Carmine Giandomenico, who you guys know from Absolute Superman and Flash, and I first saw him on Battle and Jack Murdoch, but he's a genius illustrator and just really fast too. But he's been doing incredible action work in this thing. But it's a story about Slade Wilson, really sort of like digging deep into seeing if this guy has a heart and seeing what's there. And the spoilers, he does not so much. He's mostly just killing. And so I'm telling a story about that. About I've done a lot of stories about like Stray Dogs has a lot of heart, and Feral has a lot of heart, Uncanny Valley, and like all my creator-owned stuff. And then people that read Local Band by me and Tim Seeley, that was about a character that was like a little more flawed, working through some stuff, but still like at his core, aspired to be good, aspired to be a good guy. And so now I'm writing this book about a guy that does not aspire to any of that, that is just, the world's deadliest assassin. And he gets put in a position that you don't want to put the world's deadliest assassin in. And it's just all out mayhem and violence. And while still sort of like keeping it about, like trying to explore his interiority a little bit. But I think people that are familiar with my other work will be surprised at what we find inside Slade. You're not going to find a Chewy center.
Okay, well, you're filling some big boots. I mean, some major creators, everyone from Joshua Williamson, Tony Daniel, Rob Liefeld, George Perez, and Marv Wolfman have taken their swing at the absolute best mercenary out there. Christopher Priest, too. Yeah. So what's going to make yours stand out and be the bloodiest one yet?
Oh, man. Good question. I don't know. I feel like I definitely have a different take on this guy. And we're sort of leaning, we're positioning him in the DC universe in a different way than he has been positioned before. We're sort of on a journey in this first arc, and where we take him to, like the journey that we take him on will hopefully feel a little bit different. It'll also feel a little bit familiar. Like we're trying to make it like it's a first issue for people that can just jump right in and, you've never read a Deathstroke before. Even if you've never read a DC comic before, like you should be able to pick this up and just read it like it's a first issue. But if you've read all the Deathstroke, we're putting some stuff in here that you'll recognize, characters you'll recognize, sort of like grievances and spite that you'll recognize, old wounds that are still sort of open. And so all that stuff's in there. But then the place that we take him to at the end of this, the first story arc is hopefully like a whole new place. And it sort of sets up a whole new danger for the him and also for the DC universe.
All right. So the solicitations really just give us hint that there will be blood.
Mm-hmm.
What is the story that's going to launch Slade in this new series?
Somebody comes, it's basically what it says in the solicit. Like somebody is taking Slade's world apart piece by piece, and we sort of play out the mystery of who would want to do that. He's sort of like the thing that I always thought, if this guy's the world's greatest assassin, how come he needs all this extra stuff? Like he's already got a super soldier serum, like he's already super strong. He's got a healing factor, but he's always got all this armor and like all these weapons, and he's rich from being the world's greatest assassin, and he's got got all this gear and stuff. And so we're going to sort of strip him down and sort of mentally and physically take him down to like the just bare bones and sort of build him back up and see what what do you need to be Deathstroke? Like what can he get by with, and what can he let go of?
All right. So now my selfish question on this.
Yes.
All right. You were obviously a brilliant writer. You've written some of the most amazing comics of the last few years, but you were also an artist.
Yes.
Is there any chance we're going to see a Tony Deathstroke cover any point in this?
There's a 1 in 25, I think, on the first issue that I did. I've never actually seen this Tyler Kirkham cover. That's rad. Is that for issue 1 or issue 2?
That is issue number 1. Yeah, that just got released about an hour ago.
Oh, that's so sick. Yeah, I love Tyler. I love his Deathstroke. That's our issue 2 cover. That's Carmine. But yeah, I did a first issue cover, and I would be happy to do more. But I always try to do at least one for the first issue to try and make it special. DC more amenable to that sort of thing than Marvel is. Marvel thinks I'm a writer, and DC remembers that I used to draw sometimes.
There it is. And let's talk about other things though that you're writing and drawing, because Deathstroke looks exciting. That is going to be on FOC in 2 weeks on February 23rd with a March 18th release. We get monthly. It looks like it's going to be the third Wednesday every month going forward. But there's something big coming for these cute little kittens.
Yeah.
Can you first give everyone the pitch on what Feral is so they can go grab the first handful of trade paperbacks out now?
Yeah. Feral volumes 1 through 3 are out right now, and volume 4 comes out in early March. Feral's our follow-up book to Stray Dogs. Trish Forstner and Tone Rodriguez and Brad Simpson and I make these books. Stray Dogs was a big hit. It was a serial killer comic about dogs. Feral is basically a zombie comic about cats. It's 3 indoor cats that get lost in the woods during a huge rabies outbreak. And if they get scratched or bit by these rabid creatures in the woods, they'll get turned. And so it basically plays like The Walking Dead, but with cats, or Warrior Cats meets 28 Days Later, or whatever you want to call it. But it's an ongoing series. We've 20 issues are out now in stores, and we're about to get to issue 21, which starts our 5th arc, which is sort of like our biggest arc yet. It's year 3 of Feral starts with that issue, and we're doing a lot of cool stuff for year 3. A lot of it that gets sort of announced in that issue. So it's like, if you haven't been reading it yet, you can get caught up on the trades beforehand, or we try to make everyone ready so you can just pick it up and go from there. We always do like a previously caption box in every issue for readers that just want to jump right in. But 21 is a special one because we've had this character that showed up a couple of arcs ago named Ghost, who's a deaf cat, and we've been sort of following his adventures. He's been popping up in the background or sort of like hopping into some action scenes and stuff. We've seen little bits of him, but this is our first sort of real spotlight issue on Ghost. And because he's deaf, we're doing it as a silent issue. It's told, from his perspective. And so we just we're in this new location. If you read issue 20 of Feral, you saw that they were in Pet City, which is where they've been for the past couple of arcs, which was sort of like a Dawn of the Dead for these cats, like they get trapped inside of a ostensibly a mall. and they were living in there in relative safety. But then, like always, the stuff inside of the safe place becomes worse than the stuff outside. So now they're in a new place, a new location, and we're sort of using this as a spotlight on Ghost. We get to sort of like see him, see what's cool about him, but also get to check out like everything that's going on in this new place and sort of set up the new dangers and show new opportunities and introduce new characters and stuff like that, all from his POV. And it's issue 21, obviously, like G.I. Joe 21. When you get to issue 21, I think it should be a law that you have to do a silent issue. So we're doing that here.
I didn't realize it until you had mentioned that it was a silent issue. I'm like, that's why they have a G.I. Joe homage for the ratio variant. So 1 in 25. If your store is ordering 25 copies, reach out to them, ask them if they're going to order 25 or if they can order 25 and how much they're going to want for it, because that is a great G.I. Joe homage.
It should be easy to get to 25 this time. I mean, I know we're 20 issues in on an Image comic series. Few stores are ordering 25, but on this one specifically, we always do the A cover. We do cool horror covers, and then we've got the Invincible Month Battle Beast cover as well, because they're doing Invincible Month in March. So there's a bunch of reasons to buy covers. I feel like you should be able to get your shop up to 25 if you want to get that G.I. Joe variant.
I mean, when you're tricking me into buying 4 copies of the same book, I feel you've got me pretty close to getting the 1 in 25.
Yeah.
So
that's like the most covers for any book with the least words, maybe in comic book history.
Yeah. I will say this though. So, I mean, I'm not a cat person. I have my dog. I'm happy with him, but I have never been so emotionally involved in the fate of cats as you've made me. I can't tell you how many times, like, I've flipped through issues. I've even texted Tony and been like, really? You had to do that? You're destroying me. So for somebody who does love cats, like my wife, it's devastating. I'm pretty sure she's cried over issues of this. But you're finding a way here. You're finding a way to merge it all in issue 21, because there's a little hint at the solicitation at the back. Can I read the end of the solicitation for issue 21?
I mean, you can read it. I'm not going to say anything about it, but you're welcome to get into it.
So it does say at the end of issue 21 solicitation, plus a last page shocker that will make stray dog fans sit, stay, roll over, and beg. Hint, hint.
Yeah, very subtle.
What could that possibly mean?
I mean, I don't know. We hope that Stray Dogs fans have been reading Feral all along, but I will say that Stray Dogs fans, if you haven't been reading Feral up to this point, now would be the time to check in and see what we've been up to. I think it's going to be fun for everybody. Like I said, it's the starting the third year of Feral. It's also the 5th anniversary of Stray Dogs, and we're doing a lot of big Stray Dog stuff this year. We're going to hopefully at the end of the year we've got a hardcover that we're working up towards. I got to talk to Image folks about that next week at Comics Pro, but that's supposed to be in the works. And we're doing all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, like 5th anniversary of Stray Dogs, 3rd year of Feral. We're sort of making a big, exciting splash, hopefully, and hopefully it'll be a surprise to people when it happens.
It's a big shock. No dogs in the issue whatsoever.
Well, there will be dogs. I mean, they're in a place. First, we've got Moosh, the pit bull Rottweiler mix, who's been in the book, and he's with them at this new location that they've been taken to, and they're going to find some other dogs in there too. Yeah, that's sort of been the fun of. We started real small with like a small cast in Feral, just these 3 cats that we're following, and then every place they go, they sort of pick up new characters and meet new cats. They meet dogs and stuff. And what we're definitely going to play with a lot in this arc is cats and dogs don't know how to talk to each other. And so it's going to be like a main part of this arc is sort of like, can cats and dogs, learn to communicate and learn to get along?
That is the lifelong question right there.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs get along. All right.
There's also it just FOC last week, but shops can still get 99-cent or $1 Feral issue, Image First Ferals. We sold a bunch of those. So if you're on the fence about it, you can also, if you're on the fence and you don't even want to spend $4 on a comic, you can ask your shop to get you a $1 Image First Feral. I know you guys will have it at Nowhere. You got a good Image First selection. But yeah, we're excited. We're really trying to go all out with this book. It's a big month for me, having a big DC launch like that and a big new Feral thing happening at the same time. It feels pretty exciting. I'm doing a bunch of signings. I'm going to be all over the country, a lot of conventions. So it's going to be hectic, but I'm excited about it.
I'm always excited to have you in a store signing books or slinging comics. So just a reminder, if you're all about this new Feral #1, if you haven't read it yet, $1 issue hits late February. The trade paperbacks for volumes 1, 2, and 3 are out, with volume 4 hitting March 4th. And in just 3 weeks, on March 2nd, you can FOC Feral 21, that big silent issue. It drops on the last week of March 25th. Not to mention, there's that little-known mercenary, Deathstroke the Terminator, that is on FOC next week.
Yeah. FOC's next week on February 23rd, and then it's on in stores on the 16th or the 17th.
18th, actually, March 18th.
One of those.
Yeah, got the week right.
Yeah.
All right. So, wow, just some incredible stuff ahead. And then topping it off, the 5th anniversary of Stray Dogs. That is crazy to think it's been 5 years.
Yeah, I hate to think about it that way, but that is exactly what it's been. It came out in February 20-something. So we're almost on the exact 5th anniversary of the day my life got much more interesting. My life definitely changed.
Absolutely. All right. So for everyone who is just now discovering Tony, because I imagine most people are already following him, he's got a big social media following. Where can people find you so they can keep up to date on your other big books, your upcoming releases, the big anniversary plans for Stray Dogs, and more?
Yeah. There's a whole lot of new stuff just came out recently. Like, you can read all of Army of Darkness Forever in trade right now. You can read all of Uncanny Valley in trade now. My Thing series from Marvel came out in trade recently as well. I feel like people, if they haven't found out about me, if they're just finding out right now, there's a whole bunch of new stuff in stores that you can pick up and get caught up. But at Tony Fleece everywhere. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and everywhere. Just at Tony Fleece. And I have a website, tonyfleece.com. There's a newsletter you can sign up for on there. And I definitely don't spam people with the newsletter. I probably only put it out maybe once or twice a year. And it'll be, here's the new books that are coming out. There'll probably be one coming out when Feral 21 comes out, to sort of say, like, hurry up and go, catch up.
Absolutely. And I do want to remind everyone, as he was talking about his incredible works at Marvel, if you want to read about Kid Omega and his team, the Omega Kids, that is going to be in the Age of Revelations trade paperback on FOC next Monday as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. They're doing like a few of them, right? Are they there's like 2 or 3 trade paperbacks?
Trade paperbacks, each one multiple series in one binding.
All right.
Yeah. So Tony has to share the pages with other people.
I prefer to have my own, but this is fine as well. They did that with the Wolverine Venom, the Venom War thing we did. They put a bunch in the same book. I suppose that's a value for the customer, so I like that. The readers can get a value that way. But yeah, check out Omega Kids. I really like that book. It was a fun little get in the corner of a crossover like that to just play with Quentin Quire and a bunch of little psychic kids and Phoenix and whoever else.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us. I cannot wait for Deathstroke #1. This is going to be quite the shift from 1984 Marv Wolfman, and I cannot wait.
Definitely. They're going to run a preview soon. I just found out yesterday that they're going to run a preview in DC Books soon, so you'll get to see what Carmine is doing, some crazy looking artwork, and I'll have some words in there too. But keep an eye out for that. And hopefully that comes out before FOC, but you should order a bunch of them, no matter what. I think it's going to be, we just finished the lettering today, this morning actually, and it looks great. It reads great, and the art is just so beautiful. It's a full on action, like a shoot 'em up, uber violent action comic. And hopefully that's what people are, hopefully people like that sort of thing, because that's what I like.
Absolutely. And then, of course, if you haven't checked out Stray Dogs or Ferals, it is your obligation to go to your local comic shop where they undoubtedly stock it and pick it up off the shelves.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Tony.
Of course, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Again. Where are you at right now? So if people are in Texas and head to the local PonyCon, they can see you.
My Little Pony fans could come find me at HarmonyCon in Dallas, Texas. We're at I think a Sheraton in Dallas, Texas. So yeah, harmonycon.com. You can definitely come through and hang out and brony down with us up here.
And I know he's hanging out in the comments. You can buy any of Tony's books and take it to the Brony convention at Titan Comics there in Dallas.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I know Jeremy's hanging out in the comments, and now he'll be pissed at me.
Yeah. Get all your pony comics there. Bring them through. Buy Stray Dogs over there. Bring them through. But yeah, come see me if you're in Dallas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tony. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right, guys. We have a lot of books, 2 weeks worth of Final Order Cutoff to go over right now. Do you think we can knock that out at all, Kyle? 2 whole weeks of FOC in one show?
I no longer have faith in us.
Well, I have hope.
But only because I said that last week and we managed to do it. So I'm not trying to jinx anything.
All right. Well, then let's dive right in. I want to dive in with Penguin Random House. And you see this crazy thing I'm going to do right here to make sure we get through? I'm going to kill this page. Something I never do. But we're doing 2 weeks of FOC, so we're just going to spotlight the big keys, which is why I want you guys to remember prhcomics.com for all of those incredible books from Marvel, Ignition, Distillery, Boom, etc., etc., etc. You want to go to prhcomics.com, check out the FOC, and scroll through everything, not only this week, but next week, because there's a lot of great covers, a lot of amazing titles. And we're going to start talking about the big ones this week with amazing.
Hold on. In an effort to get through things, we're going to skip one of people's favorite segments, Kyle's Prose Book of the Week. Because, to be real honest, there are too many and we do not have time. So instead, I'm going to recommend this. Guys, if you haven't been into your local library lately, go in and talk to a librarian. Tell them what comic books you're reading. Tell them what comics you're into. Tell them what you're picking up at your local comic shop. And see if they can recommend a prose book, a prose novel that would be of interest to you. You always go to your local comic shop. Don't get me wrong. But this week, head into your local library and talk to a librarian. Because you never know. They might be like, have you read, you're like, I'm into Alan Moore. And they'll be like, have you read Douglas Adams? And they'll hand you some Douglas Adams, right? So or I'm into Matt Ditterman. Have you read, like these great Timothy Zahn Star Wars books? Like, they will point you at killer things. Trust me. So
absolutely. I mean, I can say honestly, well, Tony was talking up Deathstroke. I was sitting there in the back of my head thinking Brent Wink's incredible assassin series, Way of the Shadows, the Night Angel trilogy. And I mean, I wouldn't have found that if it wasn't for an awesome librarian, some 15, 20 years ago. All right. So, shall we dive in? You ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. Amazing Spider-Man 24. Not only are you getting the incredible writing of Joe Kelly, you're getting Charles Soule joining him because Carnage, Venom, and Spider-Man are taking on this new Death Spiral character. This is going to be the big battle between Carnage and the one person who could possibly take him. So I am excited on that. Some great covers available. And I mean, it's weird that we're still not starting the Death Spiral storyline. So we still have all these covers classified by Mark Bagley, but I always want to put those on people's radar because if we don't know what it is, your retailer doesn't know what it is, who knows? It could be, it could be a boat in the way of that mystery prize, but it could be anything, and that could be the cover that everyone wants next week.
That Wolverine homage there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah.
If they don't do a die cut, I'm going to yell at somebody. But that is a gorgeous cover. That's actually the one I ordered. I am in love with that cover.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a hard choice for me. I don't think I've figured out what cover I want yet on this issue. But I can tell you which cover I want on Captain Marvel Dark Past. But I won't tell you yet because it's in our top 5 at the end. Question there. You'll get to find out later. Captain Marvel Dark Past, a new miniseries by Paul Jenkins and Lucas Wernick, giving us the secret origin of Carol Danvers. So we're obviously going back to her Miss Marvel days, as you can see on the right hand of the side of the image. We get to see her Captain Marvel form on the left. This is going to be an interesting take, especially because we've had some brilliant female writers on the series recently. Everyone from Alyssa Wong and Kelly Thompson, Kelly Sue DeConnick, G. Willow Wilson. So having a switch back to a male author on Captain Marvel, I think puts a huge amount of scrutiny on it. But if there's anyone that can do it, I think it's Paul Jenkins.
I think if you're gonna go and you're gonna take a character into the past of the character, you should go in the direction that it went in the past, right? And so this trend of, again, the incredible female writers that have been on this book are the current Captain Marvel. So when we go, we almost have to regress to go back in her history. And Paul Jenkins is such a wonderful writer that I don't think Paul will be able to help making this just an incredible story.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. A lot of great covers on there. For some odd reason, the variants aren't loading here, but you can see them on prhcomics.com. And now, something that I think everyone hopefully has read, but I'm going to be honest and be aware that they haven't. So I'm thankful for IDW bringing this very affordable collection of Lock and Key. Joe Hill, the famed horror author, works with the incomparable Gabriel Rodriguez on this amazing tale of 3 kids, their family, and a whole mess of keys in a basically haunted house. Lock and Key has had an incredible TV series with multiple seasons. It has had countless comics, original graphic novels, and more. If you've never read Lock and Key, now is your time. You get the first 2 trade paperbacks, not for $40, not even for half off at $20. $14 gets you 2 collected stories in the new IDW Classics format. And again, if you haven't read this, if you're not familiar with Joe Hill, let me say, you're likely familiar with Stephen King. This is his very, if not absolutely equally talented son doing a brilliant tale that can only be done in comics. I love the Lock and Key series. Welcome to Lovecraft has always been one of my favorite go-to referrals for people who like horror. Then you have the Dark Tale of Head Games combined in one binding, a must-have. I mean, I imagine even Kyle absolutely adores Lock and Key.
Oh, I love Lock and Key, and I will hot take Joe Hill is a better writer than Stephen King because Joe Hill writes comic books.
On that. I won't fight
only because Joe Hill writes in my preferred format. But it's the thing about when you bind Lock and Key, right? It's such a hard series to follow in single issue format sometimes, and to put together Welcome to Lovecraft and Head Games in one book, because they're actually connected, and you wouldn't know that if you bought the single issues. This is a great way to fill out like a whole story arc, a whole story run, by getting it in one binding.
Yeah. And I have to scroll down to point it out. I mean, traditionally, just Welcome to Lovecraft, which is only the first story arc, you're looking at a $25 hardcover or a $20 softcover. You're getting the first 2 volumes again for just $14. And they're going to be doing this entirely in 3 pocket-sized editions. You're going to get the entirety of Lock and Key at $14 a volume. It's great.
And listen, this trim size, guys, is the best. We've been talking that we're going to Comics Pro, and I had to pick up some reading material. So I went and picked up a couple of, DC's been doing them, the DC compact editions, but I found a couple of other publishers who are doing that size and picked up perfectly great airplane reading material. They're not too big. They're not too small. They're just right. And this is a great opportunity for that.
Yeah. If you're loving those DC compacts, also reach out to your local comic shop and talk to them if you want more affordable, easy, very travel-friendly graphic novels, because Vault is doing them. Oni is doing them. Marvel's been doing them longer than DC, but no one ever realizes it, is the hilarious thing. But if you talk to your local comic shop, I guarantee you they know the smaller format Marvel graphic novels. All right. Speaking of smaller format graphic novels, Amori. Based on the popular video game, this takes all of the classic tropes you like from those and makes a interesting horror comic series. Kodansha is bringing this vertical read digital comic to life, and I honestly think this is going to be a lot of fun. Again, $13.95 price point, but if you want to read, I don't want to just outright call this manga. I don't feel manga would be the appropriate term, even with Japanese creators on it. But it is just a really, really great comic. And I'm happy to have a physical edition rather than reading this on the digital, like slide on your phone, just scrolling up. But yeah, Amori, $14 on FOC this Monday. Then another big one for you guys. I'm hoping everyone saw Predator Badlands in theaters, but for many of you who may not have, it's now available on streaming services. And when you walk away from that, you're going to want more Predator. That is just the nature of how Predator Badlands worked. Suddenly you have to go rewatch every Predator movie, every animated series, track down every Dark Horse and Marvel comic. So what better than to get on FOC this Monday, Predator Kills the Marvel Universe, a trade paperback that features these killer of killers, these hunter of hunters, taking down the top superheroes of Marvel. So awesome tale by Benjamin Percy. The only way it could have been better is if it was already on stand so you could just grab it off the shelf.
I hope the Predator finally actually kills the Marvel Universe and they stay dead for like 30 seconds.
30 whole seconds? This is comics. Well, you're asking a lot.
Right. Like 30 whole seconds, like, give me 2 weeks before you start bringing back the people he killed. Like,
I'm just saying,
I prefer
they stayed Ted shorter.
Right. I prefer Predator to Alien. So, like, I want to see him be more successful. That's all I'm saying.
There it is. All right. Another character who made his big film debut a short while ago was Sentry. He has been an Avenger, a new Avenger, a Dark Avenger, a Thunderbolt. The Sentry is the man with the power of 1,000 exploding suns and the psychology of your average human that gives him these dark inner thoughts that make him the most villainous character out there, the Void. And both the Sentry and the Void are back with original Sentry creator Paul Jenkins. Yeah, Paul gets 2 number 1s on this week's FOC. I'm excited about that.
This is the Paul Jenkins book I'm most amped for.
Yes.
I like Captain Marvel, but give me Void every time.
Absolutely. So Paul Jenkins is back with the Sentry over 2 decades since his creation with the character. The Sentry is back. The Void is back. And we're going to once again have him crossing over with some major Marvel characters across the Marvel Universe. As you can see with covers featuring the folks of like Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Fantastic Four. Some absolutely amazing covers. If you were introduced to Sentry through the Thunderbolts film, you need to read this.
Can you close that door the rest of the way?
But sorry, what was that?
Nope, sorry. I forgot to mute my microphone.
But if you have been a longtime Sentry fan like I have since his original miniseries and one-shots, this will be a great return because we're getting Paul Jenkins back. He's going to acknowledge all that fun. We'll have the crossover fun that we got with Brian Michael Bendis' New Avengers. This is going to be good for any Sentry fan, new or old. And, Paul and Christian Rosado on it. I'm certain this will do good. But this is definitely the book that I think you need to reach out to your retailer and give them the attention on. Often with Marvel books, this is just something you stock. But the Sentry, I think, can be definitely a divisive character where retailers might struggle to figure out their numbers. I mean, even as a huge Sentry fan myself, I don't know what the numbers are going to be at my shop. So anyone that wants to reach out and let their comic shop know, hey, I'm in to give this a shot, makes our lives a lot easier to guarantee you're not missing out.
This is a character that's been mismanaged, I think, for a long time. And so shops are going to be a little hesitant, right? It's a character that people have gotten real excited. Oh, Sentry and Void are back. We'll jump on to number 1. This is not great. And jump off for number 2. So stores are going to be a little gun shy of ordering big because they don't want to sit on issues. Let them know early. It's Paul Jenkins. It's the good stuff.
Yeah. All right. One that I don't even think needs the time because it just instantly deserves the place in your heart is Star Trek Last Starship. Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly have hit it so far out of the park, you would need a starship to track down the ball that is this masterpiece. Telling the tale after the epic burn, where every starship in the Federation and beyond has basically exploded, costing the lives of billions. This tells the tale of the last operating starship manned by Captain Kirk in the year 3100. Or sorry, not in the year 3100, in the 31st century. I know how time works. If you have never seen Star Trek's Discovery, you might not be familiar with the burn, but with the newest series currently hitting Star Trek Starfleet Academy, this is all the more relevant. And even if you know nothing about Star Trek, this is an epic tale. I'm not going to lie, sometimes I'm a little bit, lacking in my Star Trek knowledge, and there hasn't been a moment in this I haven't loved. This is epic storytelling at its best, whether you're a hardcore Star Trek fanatic or you've never even heard of the Federation. So, absolutely amazing book. Great incentives on there too. If you haven't had a chance, go track down the first 5 issues on this. All right, but the one I'm a huge fan of is Star Wars. I love my Trek, but Star Wars, that's my fanaticism. And over the last 5 years, Star Wars has revitalized itself in ways I cannot describe other than to say it is the sci-fi universe for me with the Star Wars High Republic tales. It took place in 3 incredible phases that went through prose novels, comics, manga, audio dramas, children's cartoon series, and more. And it wrapped up epically last summer with High Republic Phase 3. We officially start High Republic Phase More with High Republic Adventures Pathfinders, set 20 years after Phase 2, meaning you don't need to have any entry point into the High Republic to join this. If you like Jedi and you want to see them at the height of their adventures, this Star Wars comic is going to be for you. One of the High Republic architects, George Mann, once again writing these tales of the Pathfinders, telling tales of Jedi in a time period where their ability to travel through the stars was limited. We were still mapping out hyperspace. Did I get that right? Why do I feel hyperspace is now all of a sudden, well, talking myself up as a Star Wars fan, I feel hyperspace isn't the right term.
That's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But I can't think of what the right term is either. So we're just going to go with it.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the tale of Jedi who would have to discover new planets, work on trying to bring them into the Republic, and face new threats. It kind of does sound a little Star Trek-like, if I'm being 100% honest with you. But I am all for this. This is a great all-ages book. And once again, with all ages, don't think that means it's meant for children. This is meant for all ages. I can read it with my 9-year-old son. I can read it with I'm not going to say my father's age on camera and really age him or me, but, this can be enjoyed by all, and this is going to be an incredible Star Wars book. George Mann, brilliant author. He's done everything from Dark Souls to, Star Wars kids books to, just everything. So,
right.
Great,
He wrote the role-playing game.
Yeah.
So, again, it's one of those. Listen, Mathias likes Star Wars at a level that I used to like Star Wars. But the thing I will say about George Mann is, and again, you could say what you want about other people who have written in the Star Wars universe over the years about good, bad, or otherwise, George Mann has never dropped the ball.
Very true.
So when you're thinking about jumping into a new series this far in to the High Republic stuff, and you realize that this is a place you can jump in without any preconception, any pre-knowledge, anything you've done before, this is a great place to jump in because of who's writing it.
Fully agree. All right, so that's the PRH highlights for this week. I think now we bounce over to Lunar and wrap up this week before we start talking next week comics.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, reminding everyone, lunardistribution.com, your home for all things DC, Dynamite, Oni, Mad Cave, and more. We obviously talked to the incredible Kurt Pierce about 51 already. You can see both of the amazing covers for issue number 1 and get those orders to your shop right there. But we're also going to get some incredible second printings. Absolute Batman 16 and Absolute Wonder Woman 15, the big crossover between Wonder Woman and Batman, is on FOC. If you missed out on those, you don't want to pay that ridiculous price. I think those 2 issues combined is like $40 to $50 on the aftermarket right now. So just pay the proper $4 a piece and get the second printings on order. Issue 18 is also on FOC with some great covers. I really, really wish that the trade dress that is shown right around this cover was actually on the printed form, but it is not. And we're getting a lot of the absolute second printings. So if you, and this is a fun note that I should inform everyone, if you are behind on your absolute Trinity, on even your absolute Martian Manhunter, Flash, or Green Lantern, if you are missing any of those issues and you want the single issues, DC did a bit of a twist and placed a huge line of reprints for the entire series of each of those absolute titles directly available into order through Lunar Distribution. They are not on FOC, so you're not going to see them all. But if you reach out to your local comic shop and let them know, they can go to lunardistribution.com right now and order any of those issues you're missing as the current new printing. And those will be releasing throughout March to get you caught up on anything you're missing at an affordable, and that's the key, affordable entry point. Look, I love that Absolute Batman #1 is so beloved that it's a $250 book now, but I like the idea that I can go pick it up for $4.99.
Yeah, I was talking with someone about this and how I think DC has a problem with the Absolute series. Is that they've not figured out how many they can sell. And so we're gonna see print runs and printings in numbers we've never seen before, 20th and 15th and 20th printings on some of these things.
Yeah.
And that while that's a good problem to have, it's still a problem. So because stores are going to be less and less inclined to keep ordering for fear that eventually it's going to stop. Right now, that's not a problem. But as we get deeper and deeper into this stuff, eventually the day is going to come where it's going to stop. So keep telling your shop, hey, they've got this new kind of version of the cover on the 13th printing. I want one. That way they know what kind of what to expect a little easier.
Always the way to go. And, always pre-order or subscribe at your local comic shop so that way you don't miss out on anything. All right, so we have some great reprints. The reprint of the first appearance of Brainiac is available. Even Betty and Veronica, with Archie's Betty and Me is getting a nice facsimile edition. Everyone always seems to love whenever Betty or Veronica are in bathing suits. We have Archie versus Army of Darkness continuing on, as well as things like Dennis Camp's new Bleeding Hearts. If you haven't picked that up, go run to your local comic shop. Don't walk. Run to your local comic shop and get Bleeding Hearts #1, The Tale of Zombies from the Zombie Perspective.
It's a zombie book. Shamble to your local comic shop.
Try not to lose any limbs along the way. But a lot of great books on FOC this week. As always, we emphasize check out these websites, lunardistribution.com, because this week, since we're doing 2 weeks worth of FOC, we're not going to chance to get through everything. But one I got to talk about because it's so ridiculous is Cosplayer versus Shark, a new one-shot from Antarctic Press where a beloved comic creator is eaten by a shark and cosplayers go after it. Yep, Kyle's face says it all, but I'm still tempted. I got to get it.
You remember when Antarctic Press used to do good books?
I mean, who knows? Who knows? Well, let's talk about something positive, though, that we will both like. Matt Emmons' Council of Frogs, new original graphic novel that you can get featuring, just you guessed it, frogs.
Yep.
This seems like a very delightful, oh, God, what is the one with the rabbits that everyone likes? Something Down? Watership Down?
Oh, Watership Down, yes.
Yeah.
wouldn't
This
say that
seems
people like Watership Down. It's an important book. I wouldn't say anybody likes it.
Yeah, it is an emotionally devastating tale we're all forced to live.
Right. It's an important book. I wouldn't say it's enjoyable.
Yeah. Crownsville wrapping up, as is DC versus AEW. I've had a lot of wrestling fans come out of the woodwork on this, and it has been great seeing people who don't traditionally buy comics but love things that are very, very comic adjacent coming into the store and grabbing this. So that has been an exciting moment. Spreading down further in the facsimile realm, we have Detective Comics 475, that classic Joker Fish issue. And then a big one I've been dying to talk about again is Dork. So a few weeks ago, we had Brett Bean on here, and we told you all, order Dork. It is amazing. Order Dork. I ordered a triple figure amount for my store with very few subscribers, which was unfortunate that we had very few subscribers. And within under 48 hours, realistically within 18 hours of actual open time, my store sold out of a triple figure amount. This book, the A cover exists at around a $75 value on the aftermarket. The 1 in 25, several $100s. The 1 in 50, several $100s. We had Brett on here. He talked it up. We showed you pages. We talked about all the covers. I'm hoping every last one of you got a copy. If not, don't worry. We had the second printing last week, which we talked about. So we hope you got the second printing. But do not sleep on issue 2's first printing. This is the book. It's the emphasis of why we do this show. We want to make sure you guys get the comics you want. And we're sometimes telling you the comics you're going to need. Dork was that, and is still going to be that. So do not miss out. Get your local comic shop your orders on which of the many great covers you would like from Dork. I mean, I think Brett doing that cover, that's amazing.
This is the third or fourth book that we've had a guest on the show. We've talked about it, and then it has blown up on release. Okay, I'm not saying you should watch our show so that you know what books are going to blow up on release, but we've not been doing this for like 100 years between us without some kind of collective knowledge at the end of it. I'm just saying, we're here for a reason.
I really hate that between the two of us, we're way closer to 100 years than I would like.
Bro.
Yeah.
This week, I feel like I've been doing this 160 years myself. So, but I blame comics, bro.
There it is. Aquaman fans, you've seen him as the King of Atlantis, but how about the Emperor of Atlantis? The new series title launches with issue 15. Aquaman goes from Aquaman to Emperor Aquaman. Jeremy Adams and John Tim still doing the wonderful interior writing and drawing, but now we have a brand new title, and with it, so much more authority. I am very intrigued because this, honestly, the first 14 issues of this series has been great. Dealing with Thanos and the Omega energy, incredible tales with Mera and the child of Aquaman and Mera, and now we're upping it to another level. For many of you guys, this is going to be the book you've been loving for the past year and a half, continuing on. For some of you guys, especially those who are enjoying DCKO, this is the book you're going to now discover and be in love with. Jump on Emperor Aquaman 15, and when you realize this is one of the greatest books DC is putting out, which is not what I ever thought I'd say about Aquaman, go track down the first 14 issues, single or trade. Amazingly, some stores might still have the single issues for the first 14. All sorts of fun. You guys can see the free comic book day DC releases on Lunar's FOC page. Keep in mind, you want to talk to your local comic shop and see how they're handling free comic book day. Each shop is going to be different. So be understanding, be loving, understand that they pay for all the books they give away, and many stores have their own unique methods of dealing with free comic book day. I also want to point out, because I've been loving the Invincible covers this month, Free Planet has a great one with Battle Beast. We have continuing issues like The Future Is. We talked about it months ago with the incredible Scott Dunbier, but the newest artist edition of George Perez's Teen Titans is on FOC this week. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to get the chance to own a George Perez page, but the idea of owning a whole book full of one-to-one replicas, facsimiles of original George Perez artwork is worth it in my mind. And I mean, if you're a fan of Deathstroke, you're all excited about Tony's book on FOC next week. This is going to be a great way because you're going to see the first appearance of Deathstroke. So this will have a curated selection of pages from the first 40 issues of New Teen Titans. I'm a little bummed we don't get to go into the full Judas contract, but this will be everything that leads up to it. And I mean, just the covers alone, look at that. That is beautiful. Act 4 Publishing, this is going to be a big book filled with the original artwork of George Perez. G.I. Joe, issue 325. That was a seller and a banger of an issue. And I think this is going to drag a lot more people into the Real American Hero. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, number 326 on FOC this week. Some great covers featuring Snake Eyes. Oh, and that guy Mark from Invincible. Hey, Mark. I thought I was going to get a reaction out of Kyle on that bad joke.
I wish I liked Invincible.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I wish I liked it because some of these covers are great, and I would pick them up. But
Well,
it's not my jam. So, it's one of those things. It's like, it's not really my jam, so I would be buying them just on the spec, and I hate to do that.
Yeah. But if for any reason you're perhaps like Kyle because you haven't read Invincible, you can get Invincible issue number 1, a new foil edition reprint with the traditional Cory Walker cover, an updated Cory Walker cover, which is really cool for the animated fans, as well as other options, including I'm just going to say it. I'm sorry, Robert, and I'm going to get slapped for this next week. The dumbest idea I've ever heard. The Invincible foil edition blank sketch cover, which means it's a blank sketch cover that you can sketch on over a foil cover.
Or is it just that the Invincible is foiled?
No, the Invincible is not foiled. They're putting a traditional sketch cover over a foil cover. But hey, man, I will give it this. I have more desires for Invincible sketches. I would love some Atom Eve and some Battle Beast. So I'm going to be stupid and buy these so I can have an Invincible sketch cover with my favorite characters. But yeah, like, why did it, just make it a
Dear Robert, what the hell?
Yeah.
Signed, Kyle. Send.
That's it. If he responds, I'm gonna be amused. So a lot of great.
Well, he was CC'd on the email.
Yeah.
I didn't send it just to him though. I sent it to the actual people who could actually answer the question.
There you go. Mark Spears, one of the hottest names in comics right now, with his incredible Monster series covers on everything from Dynamite to Spawn to DC, has a new one-shot, Mark Spears' Midnight Man. It's set in the Mark Spears Monsters universe. It is an easy, simple entry point, a standalone issue. If you've been loving his art, you've been buying all his covers, this is the way to go. No tricky blind bags, nothing crazy. Choose the cover you want.
I want the one with his grandmother on it.
What was that?
I want the one with his grandmother on it. That one right there. It looks like the little old lady. Like,
I'll see. I just thought that was the kid from Bad Santa.
See, I thought it was the little old lady.
There you go.
This is why Mark Spears is popular. We're going to have a debate about who is that person and why are they there.
Ooh, an FOC add-on variant. This one would have just come up, I guess, in the last 24 hours. I haven't seen this yet. So always good to watch the show. Always good to check out, these two websites so you can see this info. Sometimes that stuff pops up really recently, like we discussed earlier with Tony, with the new Deathstroke cover, and now with this awesome cover added on today. Again, a lot of amazing books. Pick up a very interesting sounding one-shot that has me very intrigued. Michael Coast is telling us the tale of a big social media influencer who is known for telling men how to pick up ladies. Unfortunately, when one of his social media videos features a murder in the background, His entire life is up for grabs. How will he survive this? This is an interesting. Like, if this was a movie pitch or a miniseries pitch, I'd be in. As a one shot, I am so heavily into this. Like the idea that this is done in one binding, 1 week release, pick it all up and I'm done. I can't wait to read this.
How many dudes in this are going to be wearing like leopard print bucket hats and eye patches is what I want to know.
I would imagine many. The question is how tongue in cheek the intention is going to be.
That's fair.
Yeah. But 2 great covers on this. Actually, I really like the Alice. I mean, both of them are great. I like the Alice.
Ooh, that's a killer cover.
Yeah, but I mean, I do love the pool with the pixelated pool and the cell phone design. Great stuff. All right. For those of you who are fans of Toy Story, how about the Pizza Planet cookbook so you can figure out how to make the pizziest of pizzas?
Da claw.
There it is. I wonder if the claw is going to be some kind of food recipe in there. I would hope so.
I bet 100% it is. Or there's something like with a bunch of green peppers that are the aliens.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I don't believe we have the Pizza Planet restaurant still at Disneyland. Somebody in the comments is going to yell at me either with the date that it ended or the fact that it is still there and I haven't been to Disneyland recently. But nevertheless, like I have fond memories of the Pizza Planet restaurant, even though it is the fastest of fast food at Disneyland. All right. The Seasons is back. Love the Invincible cover there. Absolutely amazing. Just all sorts of fun on this week's. A lot of great covers for Sirens. Love Hurts, which is a masterpiece from Teenie Howard and Babs Tarr. Sonia Reborn, Christopher Priest's incredible Sonia tale. All sorts of fun to be had. But one that will slip by most people's radars, but another thing for Star Wars fans. Brought to you, I believe, from Abrams Publishing. This is something you can order through your shop from Lunar Distribution. It is a little talking Yoda that will give you wisdom, or wisdom it will give you, if we're going to do this in proper Yoda form. $17 for a little talking Yoda. I'm not going to say no. Like, this is going to be another tchotchke you'll see in the background of this already filled, frame right there. But expect to see it on mid-March's shows. No, are you going or no? No. All right. Okay. More Street Fighter fun in preparation for the upcoming Street Fighter movie. It's Karen, not that Karen. Street Fighter Masters Karen is going to be a very fun one-shot from a character that I don't think gets enough play in the game, realistically.
It's true.
Yeah, but definitely fun. The one that excites me, though, on this all is Super Creepshow. Creepshow, already a great horror anthology from some of my favorite creators in comics. Image is back with its newest volume of Creepshow called Super Creepshow, which is going to give us superhero-themed horror stories. And who better to do it than 2 masters of superhero storytelling, Kieran Gillen and Ryan North. Some absolutely amazing covers in there that definitely give that vein of classic superhero comics and horror. And then, of course, a cover that will make its way to our top 5. Even an Invincible cover. Like, I didn't think you could out Otley, Ryan Otley, but that is somehow a bloodier, more horrifying cover than would actually be published on Invincible. So, a lot of good fun. Obviously, I got to mention Supergirl because we had the upcoming film we're all excited about, but here's one that I think really deserves some attention. Tigress Island. Done by the creators of Gehenna, Patrick Kindland is back to tell a tale of actresses that are kidnapped and put on a prison island, forced to do a battle royale style blood bath. This is going to be out there. It is going to be sexy. It is going to be violent. This is everything that would be utterly unacceptable to put into a movie theater in the 1970s, and yet here we are. So,
I was kind of shocked Patrick wasn't somebody we targeted for a guest when I saw this book, because this is one that we both are going to be very into.
I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of books that I really, I contemplated reaching out to George Mann. There's some books for on the next week's FOC we'll be covering momentarily like Lobo and Batwoman. I contemplated Scotty Young and Greg Rucka. I know we talked about Scotty Young on that, but like I'm very happy with our guests. I think we had some incredible.
Absolutely. But Patrick is somebody I've never talked to.
Yeah,
and so it would have been a great thing to find out his thoughts, how he came to this book. But we'll save that. Maybe we'll try issue 2.
Yeah, absolutely amazing covers though. So I'm excited about that. Equally amazing covers on the big finale to the opening Robert Kirkman storyline of Transformers, questioning who will lead the Transformers because it looks like RC is going up against Optimus. Could we get an RC Prime maybe? And then, look at that.
So he's our keynote next week at Comics Pro, and I'm very excited to hear what he reveals that he probably shouldn't about what he's going to do with Transformers. So very amped to hear what Robert has to say. I'll be honest, it's the only reason I had his email just then. So I wanted to ask about the foil cover. So very excited to hear what the next phase of Transformers is. I missed out on the beginning of this Transformers run, right? I was like, I'm not a big Transformers run fan. I'll read it and trade. I missed out on the beginning of this run. Finally, we're to issue 30, and I'm going to start buying the singles with issue 30 because I will have caught up via trade, and I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Skybound, Robert Kirkman is perhaps the reason, but I don't know how Skybound got Hasbro to approve Invincible versus Transformers, but that is a great cover.
Yeah.
All right. All sorts of fun. Witchblade crossover too with Invincible. Do not miss out on these. Make sure you look through everything on lunardistribution.com. We're going to do a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back to you because we've talked about all the books on FOC. Well, we've talked about a lot of the highlights of the books on FOC this Monday, February 16th. When we come back, we're going to talk about next Monday, February 23rd.
All right. Rather than take a commercial break, which is what I told Mathias we were going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of a conversation with you guys about what's going on here on the EXP the rest of the week. So tonight at 7, Nick is doing his original art show where he will be slashing prices like a guy in a hockey mask in a horror movie, including having original art for $13 and $14 for Friday the 13th. Because he is, as you would say, a madman, like the characters who wear hockey masks in horror movies. Then after him will be Nancy. Nancy McCann will do her weekly request and vintage show that she does every week here on The Experience. That's at 9 o'clock Eastern. Now, next week, things get a little wonky because myself, Miss Jen, Mathias, so many of our shows are going to be at Comics Pro. So on Monday, you'll have Comic Collectibles with Rex as normal. There will be no poker night on the EXP because I will be sleeping before I have to get up at 3 in the morning to travel to Comics Pro. Then you will have Best Coast Comics with Bronze and Bigby. Then on Tuesday, Comics Industry Insiders Live won't be live. It'll be pre-recorded because everyone will be on a plane. That's right. At that point, everyone will be traveling out to LA for Comics Pro. So that show will be pre-recorded, but I know that they put together some incredible content for you for that episode. Then Tuesday night, unfortunately, because of the aforementioned planes, there will be no Minute to Skim It or tomorrow's Comics Tuesday. That's not to say somebody else might not jump in and offer some things for you, but those two shows will likely not happen. And you'll kick back up with Kicking It with Henri, who's going to do a bunch of dollar books for you, give you opportunities to fill out runs, pick up new things for very affordable prices. Wednesday will be Comic Collectibles with Rex. Again, there will be no producer Kyle's Hour of Power because I will be at Comics Pro. Thursday, there will be no What's in the Box because, again, Miss Jen will be at Comics Pro. But we will have the Geek Chat as well as Sketch Up with Mel and Mog next Thursday. Then next Friday, Mathias and I will, again, not be here. We'll be at Comics Pro. That's why we're doing what we're about to do when we talk about next week. So stay tuned for that. We're going to turn around on Friday. Nick will have another great art show, and then we will have another great Nancy McCann show on Friday of next week. Now, I talked about all the things that were going to happen. make sure you're following the EXP on social media, Facebook, Instagram, the platform I'm not going to name, Blue Sky, TikTok, all of them, because we will be announcing, Miss Jen and I will be doing shows live from Comics Pro where we will be offering you the swag that we get at Comics Pro before anybody else has a chance to get it. So make sure you tune in for that. Likely those will be very late at night because it'll be very late at night. It'll be very normal time at California time. It'll be very late at night East Coast time. So make sure you have your alerts turned on if you're into that kind of thing, and make sure you tune in. Unknown, the answer is no. I apologize. Retailers only. Okay.
Those stupid
Did the
retailers
thing.
get all the
Right.
fun stuff. All right.
Listen,
All right.
there was stuff we talked about in that first half of the show, that first part of the show, that I really want to talk about, that I know about, that I'm not allowed to talk about, that I know about. So, like, needless to say, I'm glad we're into this part of the show because there will be less me biting my tongue or, squeezing on my fidget toy to keep from spilling the beans.
Yeah, I can honestly say, for those who are paying attention or want to scroll back to get insider info, Kurt and Tony both were wonderful, wonderful guests in that they gave you exactly what you want. If you were paying attention, they gave you some insider info that you get when you watch a show like ours, where we can bring these creators and they're going to off the cuff say things they're probably not supposed to. So for those of you guys who really want to get ahead of next week's news, or possibly even months further out news, go back and listen to Tony and Kurt. That was some fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All
So
right.
let's dive into books that are on FOC, not this coming Monday, but a week and a half from now, February 23rd. We're going ahead, since we're not going to be airing live. We'll probably see if I can convince Kyle to just repost this episode next week. But this will be the fun of next week's FOC. Again, for PRH, I'm not going to scroll through because there's not a way currently to look at 2 weeks out's FOC on PRH's website. So I have pulled the spotlight fun things. And the first one is a very unconventional boys love manga, Everything for Demon King Evologia. Evologia, what a name. This tale tells a young boy who spent his youth playing a video game and having a crush on the evil demon lord villain of it. Unfortunately, as he aged, he didn't always have the greatest life, and one day is murdered in cold blood. However, in that isekai fashion that Japan has mastered, he wakes up in his favorite video game, a new life where he gets to have his chance to live out his love with the demon king of his youthful crush. It is an out there concept, but it has the potential to be fun. And I can truly say we are in an era of erotic, mature romance being some of the highest selling things in bookstores. And that is starting to creep into comic stores. So here is a little bit of boys love fun from Seven Seas. Everything for Demon King Evologia. Then we get a double pack of Fantastic Four love on this hit. Fantastic Four #9 continues our Invincible Woman storyline. Ryan North and Humberto Ramos giving us the Sue Storm tale you never knew you needed, with Malice taking front and center. Obviously, Marvel Rivals brought Malice to the forefront of attention to those who weren't just reading Fantastic Four in the early 90s, late 80s, and everyone wants more. This is the story that brings a wrap up to that epic tale and more Malice with some absolutely stunning covers. Like, man, these are great. Mike Allred and Joshua Sway Swaby doing it. Even a beautiful incentive variant by Corn Howe. This is going to be a good book. But say you want Fantastic Four with less affiliation. Maybe you don't need the overly sexualized content or costume of Malice. You want something more like that movie you saw. Fantastic Four First Foes, a prequel to the movie Fantastic Four First Step, as Ryan North of the main Fantastic Four title and Dan Slott, the former Fantastic Four writer, come together to do a in the MCU continuity tale, preluding Fantastic Four First Steps. It's going to have Mark Buckingham and Phil Noto artwork. Like, you know, if you know, you know. Two master artists. I am beyond excited about this. I am super happy to get more continuity prior to Avengers Doomsday with this Fantastic Four. And it sounds like it's going to have some of the content that was left on the cutting room floor of the film, because the film obviously had characters we saw briefly in there, and we didn't get stories on Mole Man or I can never remember the name of the guy with all the monkeys that somebody in the comments is always just, you know, hitting
I
me.
haven't seen it.
Got a lot of knowledge up there, and it's not all well organized.
Right. I haven't seen it, but more Herbie stories, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would love a, you know, I'm just throwing it out there, Marvel, if you're paying attention. Fantastic Four, first sauce. Herbie making sauces for various meals. Sounds like a great cooking item. I mean, you're doing meals to astonish.
Yeah, okay, sold.
All right, cool. All right, but yeah, some great covers on this. You know, all wonderfully getting the vibe of the movie. I am excited. If you enjoyed Fantastic Four First Steps, this I think is the book for you. Series of upcoming one shots, by the way, that will be they're all going to be one shot number ones, but they're going to tie into First Step. Then, long overdue, Sergio Aragonés and Mark Evanier are back with Gru. It's been too many years since the last one, and I love that Sergio, while up there in age, is far from calling it quits or hanging up the quill. The incredible Gru is back. Stan Sakai lettering it, Mark Evanier writing, Sergio Aragonés drawing and co-writing. This is fun. This is the all ages barbarian we love and adore, back doing what he does best. Brand new mini series. Are you a Gru fan at all, Kyle?
I love Gru.
Right?
Well, I love Sergio Aragonés, right? Like the Mark Evanier is great, but Sergio, Stan, you know, your Bob Burdens, your Kevin Eastmans, your, you know, those are my guys. Those are the people that like I go out and seek out things that they make. So
Yeah.
I've always liked Gru. I've always been a big fan of Gru the Wanderer. So this is a great new Gru story. And I'll be honest, Sergio is one of those creators I've not yet met in my long career in comics that I need to.
I as somebody who's met him a number of times, I will tell you he is beyond a gentleman. There are gentlemen in
Yeah.
comics. You know, Stan Sakai being one. Absolute gentleman, honorable, good, sweet, great person. But then there is Sergio, who is that level beyond where the first time you meet him, you're already his best friend. The way he smiles and talks to you, it can be literally the first time you met him and you're only going to meet him for 5 minutes in a line, and he's going to talk to you like you guys have known each other for 30 plus years. Like, he is something else, and I love him for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely, if you get a chance, pick up a copy of this, and whenever his next convention is, you want to be in that line. You know, he is such a heartwarming figure. All right. One that is going to be completely out there, but Killing Me, Killing You, Sweet Caroline.
I was just thinking that.
It's the title, right? You know, like it's been bugging me all week. I just every time, you know, I read this title, Killing Me, Killing You. Killing Me, Killing You is an unconventional manga concept about a suicide pact of two immortals. Two immortal warriors that decide they will make the agreement to kill each other. But how do you kill an immortal warrior, even if you are an immortal warrior? Out there concept, very amazing looking artwork, high fantasy, blood, sexiness, fantasy, 7 Cs. It's what you'd expect. Killing me, killing you.
Yeah, but when you talk about a suicide pact, and I'm singing Sweet Caroline in my head,
Yeah,
not a great dichotomy.
yeah.
So one of my favorite comics of the last couple of years is Kill All Immortals. And so I really do enjoy a story where you have a character that should be unbeatable in the sense of a god or an immortal like we're talking about here, and having to figure out how to end that existence. Right? I'll never forget Pete Townsend talking about all my friends are dead. Because he had lived so much longer than a lot of the people he grew up with, a lot of the other rock stars, right? Well, if you're an immortal warrior, you have the same problem. So finding another immortal warrior and making a deal for mutually assured destruction is a very interesting psychological concept, and I'm very excited for this book because of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird one. So the world that these two immortals live in has been blighted by a meteor strike, and it has killed off everyone basically but the way too strong and immortal, and they're not happy to be alive. But I mean, just a haunting opening issue cover. I mean, that classic overly sexy anime character, well, just darkness in the background. Then you go scroll down, there's the volume 2 that doesn't come out until July. But again, the overly cute anime female holding on to nooses. So it's a weird mix, but it's got my attention.
Okay, this is going to sound real dark, but I'm going to say it anyway. I kind of hope this turns into a slice of life of them just trying a bunch of stuff and failing.
I have to assume it's going to.
It just gets more Looney Tunes. Eventually they're ordering boxes of dynamite from Acme. I hope that's what this becomes on some level, just because I don't want it to be a super serious, super dark story all the time, but I do want it to have those elements.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go for a notably lighter touch of fantasy, we're going to head over to the Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering's Untold Stories new miniseries, this time not focusing on Elspeth, but the greatest illusionist and mage in Magic, Jace. Jace Bellerin gets a new miniseries done by Eisner Award-winning Michael Conrad, another incredibly nice gentleman in comics. The Untold Tales of Jace, he is our blue planeswalker in Magic. He, for years, was the number one thing thrown on every piece of art and packaging for Magic the Gathering. And now we finally get the tale that'll make us care about him. Because I've always felt Jace has been like the Cyclops of the Magic universe. Like, look, he's the Boy Scout. Everyone loves him, but do they? He's kind of whatever, bland. But I can tell you, Michael Conrad is a Magic fan. He's the type of guy who will bring his deck of Magic cards to a convention, even though he's there to sign comics. And that gives me the highest hopes. He is going to give us a tale worthy of Jace and the plane that he is from, Vryn. What made this character special? Some absolutely amazing cover options there. There's always the question, is there going to be a Magic card in the comic? I don't believe there is, but don't quote me on that if there happens to be. But I'm excited about it. Particularly in an era for Magic the Gathering fans where we're getting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Final Fantasy, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Spider-Man, all of these sets of cards that don't have anything to do with Magic lore. This has me excited to return to the universes and planes of Magic the Gathering, where I get to see the planeswalkers I know. I want more with Urza and Chandra and Jace Bellerin of Vryn. So this is really exciting.
Nicol Bolas forever.
Nicol Bolas forever. Well, one day he's going to have to come out of his brother Ugin. And now
that's how you know I've been playing Magic for a really long time, right?
Yeah. You were playing back when Nicol Bolas was just a legendary card.
It's true, I was.
All right. In a very odd twist, coming from Tokyo Pop Manga, Manga Quest History. Manga Quest is a new line of manga containing basically, I don't want to say textbooks, but books on math, history, sciences, and more. Manga Quest History is going to deal with the Cold War and beyond. What is the world history from everything from Martin Luther King, Nixon, Reagan, events across the world, Olympic tales, and more. done in manga style. And it's an odd concept, but if it gets these histories into the right hands, if it gets a young kid to, pop open a history book and be a little bit excited about knowing about what happened, maybe it'll be the thing that prevents us from repeating it. So, Manga Quest History is a part of a series of incredible Manga Quest titles. Um, I want to actually just do a quick search here to show everyone some of these. But this is the one I chose to spotlight on FOC next Monday. But there are a number of these coming out from Tokyo Pop. Everything from how to do mathematical equations, books talking about dinosaurs. So there's math adventures, dinosaur adventures, and more, done in manga style. So I got to give a small golf clap to Tokyo Pop for coming up with this.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And again, like, there's a level of, you mean I can read a manga and it'll teach me math?
Yeah.
Where was that when I was a kid? Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this might not be for the person who is currently watching this, but perhaps those of you who are watching know somebody who might enjoy this. Like, this is definitely going to be something, and I love that it has the grade level for things like math. Like, this is a 6th, 7th grade level math. It gives, like, the age level, age 10 and up for the histories. I mean, I'm going to try and get the dinosaur adventures in front of my son. He likes his dinosaurs. And maybe I'm hoping that will get him to perhaps get to the math adventures when he hits 6th grade, or check out the history and ask me more questions about the civil rights movement or the Cold War. Then returning to the type of thing though that everyone wants, how about Neighborhood Watch? I don't know why I opened the glow in the dark. Let's give me the A cover on this. Neighborhood Watch is a new Boom Studios book from Sarah Gailey with art by Haining. And this is an interesting tale of 2 members of a local community that stumble across a dead body at the same time. And now they must, as members of the Neighborhood Watch, try and solve this before the cops come after them.
Did you click on that A cover?
I did, and it's just not loading.
Okay.
But we'll just scroll down and show off the covers this way until it loads up. But it's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I will say the premise of this book paired with the covers is a weird, comparison. I don't know how the covers match up with the book itself, and that alone has me intrigued. So one of the interesting things about the way we do the show, right? Mathias has the ability to go in and look a couple of weeks out on PRH. I don't. So I will start looking on the Tuesday of the week once the previous FOC is submitted. And this is one that, had it come up, I would have been texting him on Tuesday night while he's in the middle of like real important stuff. We need to get Sarah on the show.
Yeah.
Just because I think this book looks really, really interesting. And Boom Studios has been a little bit quiet recently with new stuff. They've been doing a lot of their ongoing stuff, a lot of their continuing stories, but they've not had a ton of new IP come out. And so to have something like this launch right now is very interesting to me.
Well, with the insider info of not saying anything, Boom looks like it's going to have an amazing 2026. You're right. They had a bit of a quieter 2025 with their transition away from Diamond Distribution over to Penguin Random House, especially under ownership of Penguin Random House. But I think we've got some big Boom stuff. In fact, we have another big Boom book that we'll get to talk about right after this. But yes, Sarah Gailey would have been a great guest. It's always that problem of there's so many great books with so many great creators every week, and we have to make a choice. And sometimes me and Kyle don't even agree on who to bring on. But, it is always like the limited amount of time we have, because if we had the opportunity, this show would be on every day with a new guest talking about all these amazing topics. Kyle would kill me for that.
Right. I would probably be dead. But this is one of those books that just everything about this has me intrigued. And there very seldom are there books on FOC that I go, I don't know what? This is one of those books that's just got me going, I'm not sure, but this is very interesting. And so whenever that happens, I'm in deep.
Yeah.
So I will definitely order a glow in the dark variant.
Yeah, the one that you can't see.
Yeah, despite the fact that it will probably give me some sort of disease because glow in the dark. But no, that's a uranium joke. Anyway, this one is very interesting to me.
Yeah, it definitely. Now, this is going to date me and possibly anyone else who agrees with me. It very much has like the, or 20 years ago, Desperate Housewives vibe to it. All right, but we talked about Boom is coming back big in 2026. And what's the biggest book at Boom, Kyle?
Fence.
Wow, not where I thought you were going to take that.
Hey, with all the boys love stuff that's happening right now, that book is having a resurgence.
It is.
So I don't know what the biggest book at Boom is right now.
I would say unquestionably, it is a tale about something that is killing the children. And I get that it has been several months. Yeah, Kyle's having that moment. It has been several months.
Kidding.
Yeah. Several months.
I knew what it was.
There it is.
Several months since we've actually gotten the story.
Since issue 45 of Something is Killing the Children, we have gone way too long without any new tales of Erica Slaughter. But no more. Issue 46 returns on FOC next Monday, February 23rd. Something is Killing the Children. Issue 46 launches the 11th story arc, if I've got that right. I'm 90. It's 10th or 11th story arc.
Sounds right.
10th story arc. 10th story arc of Something is Killing the Children. Erica Slaughter is back. We're still dealing with tales of her early years of how she got to where she is. But I am excited. We have James Tynion back. We have Werther Deladera. We have some amazing covers, as you can see. Like the fact that I have to scroll to see all the covers is a statement in and of itself. But I'm excited to return to the House of Slaughter and discover more of what Erica is up to and what has brought her to the points she has been. So, like I said, I think it's going to be a big year for Boom. Expect some major news over the following weeks and or months.
Absolutely.
All right. Something unique. I loaded this up and I didn't look this up, so I'm going to be 100% honest with everyone right now. But this got my attention. Spy X Family, the popular manga series, is getting a card game in an interesting combination of Tokyo Pop and Crunchyroll. So this is available for anyone who orders through Penguin Random House. It is an essential card game for the fans of the Forager family. But it's not a trading card game. It's a you done in one, you buy it, you have it all. 50 cards, 2 to 5 players, ages 6 and up, quick 15-minute game. Intriguing concept, and I know there's Spy Family fans out there. So really fun one, and a cool one for stores that are more comic focused, that don't always have access to games like Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, board games like Settlers of Catan, all the way through what have you. Here's an interesting way that you can include a bit of games to tie into your manga section. And that's not something we say a lot. Games that tie, look, we just talked to Magic the Gathering comic and Magic the Gathering games. Source Point Press made a number of great comic-based games, but manga games.
Yeah, shout out Deepwater Games. That's where you can find those games now. But yeah, Spy X Family is a great, and it's an accessible manga, right? It's not one of those. It's not like some of the manga we talk about where it's like, yo, this is 18 plus. It's not specifically a kid's book. It is very accessible for many different age groups. And having a game that is safe for the whole family, that from what I'm reading is understandable and easy to teach for the whole family, is always a big bonus, especially if you're like a millennial parent who's trying to explain your love of anime and manga to your kid who's like, but it's Bluey. Yeah, but there's more to the world than Bluey, right? And so this is a great way to kind of maybe make that introduction without having to just throw a book at them.
No, I mean, you are dead on. As a father of a kid who's obsessed with Bluey, but I'm also currently on season 3 of Naruto rewatching with him. Yeah, it's a trip always. But yeah, you make a good point. I didn't even think about the idea of getting this for my son to play. Now it's on my radar. All right. So I'm hoping everyone got a chance to finish Stranger Things, because I haven't yet. I need to sit down and finish Stranger Things. But if you did and you are stuck in that wonderful universe and want more, if you haven't read the Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons comics that were offered through Dark Horse, you are missing out. Jim Zub, one of the best figures in Dungeons and Dragons. This guy is not only a comic writer who knows his fantasy, he is actually the guy that Dungeons and Dragons and Hasbro goes to when they're writing D&D books. And then Jody Hauser, another brilliantly talented comic writer who I know plays a weekly D&D game with Jim Zub, Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly, and others. These guys love their D&D, so them writing a Stranger Things take on D&D is great. All the miniseries that are combined in this library edition hardcover are wonderful. They give additional content and flavor to the TV show you all know and love. And if you haven't read them, this is the cool way to get it. A $50 oversized hardcover. This is a big library edition size hardcover. Fun way to go. And if you wanted to
just out, right, and either just out or soon to be released is the Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons campaign book. So it's you get to play the characters play in a Dungeons and Dragons setting, and it's a great way to kind of tie the two things together. So you have the lore here, you have the actual play with the Dungeons and Dragons Stranger Things game book or a campaign book coming out. So the definitely is a two-hander in terms of they go together, and it's a great way to explain things to people. Not explain things to people, but tie in things that people are already doing.
Absolutely. And should time out wonderfully with the upcoming Stranger Things Tales from Hawkins animated series coming to Netflix. All right. A new one from Ignition is going to be Andy Parks, Tyler Rake, an Extraction story. So for those of you guys who like your John Wick to Taken style solo adventures, Tyler Rake might be the next John Wick for you all. A mercenary trying to start over, tales in South America, all sorts of fun, high action. And, if you've read anything by Andy Park, he knows how to deliver that. So I am excited. It's a nice, simple one. We should be getting ash cans for that at your local comic shop soon if they get the Ignition Press ash cans. So make sure you ask for one of those. And then, of course, get your FOC in before next Monday, February 23rd. Coming up to the end of PRH for February 23rd, we are also going to talk about coming up on the end of the Ultimate Universe. It's Ultimate Endgame 3. Wow, look at that Mark Brooks cover. That might be Mark Brooks, there's Dan Panosian and Mark Brooks and Adam Hughes and all that, who just every time they do a cover, it stuns me more. But this might be my favorite. This is amazing. Dennis Camp continuing the Ultimate Endgame. This guy just cannot fail, apparently. Everything he writes is a super demanded comic. I think this has got to be probably the highest selling Marvel book right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be pretty close. But I will say this too. I'm going on record again predicting this, that Ultimates is supposed to end and come back. They've already announced it's coming back in May. I think we're going to see an event between this and that featuring Alpha, the Ultimate Mutant, where we find out that the Ultimates universe was actually created by Alpha, the Ultimate Mutant.
Let's do it. I'm pretty sure a few months ago I predicted that we weren't going to see the end of the Ultimate Universe, and anybody who bet on that is winning. Let's see if betting on Alpha, the Ultimate Mutant is going to give you a lot of love for Kyle.
Hold on, I have to email David Gabriel. No, I'm kidding.
There it is. I'm going to manipulate the bets. Take a dive.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So final one for PRH for February 23rd. And remember, you can get these orders to your local comic shop this week. You don't have to wait till next week. The sooner you get this information to your local comic shop, the happier they are with you. We're going to talk about Web of Venom. Brand new series from Jordan Morris. Some great artwork by Ramon Rosanas and Luke Ross. Ton of amazing covers again. A ton of amazing covers. It's just, I mean,
I don't love the trade dress.
you don't love the
But
trade
the
dress?
covers are killer. I don't love the trade dress, but the
Yeah.
covers are killer on this.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a weird graphic design snob, by the way. Like, it's not a bad one. It's just I'm a weird graphic design snob, and I don't love the trade dress.
Yeah. I mean, I personally really liked in Venom 252. It's weird that we're, like so close in numbering that's where my thought process is. In Venom 252, when we introduced this costume, I thought that was a really exciting twist. We're now a month into this new Venom costume, and obviously it looks like he's going back in Death Spiral. But it is exciting to see what this web of Venom is going to be. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I hate to say, I don't know. I have no predilections, no predictions. I have nothing to give a strong opinion on what this is going to be, but it looks interesting.
I can't get past the weird O.
Yeah. The Dio.
Yeah.
But a lot of great covers. I'm sure will draw people in, all the Peach Momoko fans, the foil fans, the design variant fans. It'll be enough to at least get issue number 1 in your hands to determine whether or not you love it. I mean, there's even going to be a Scotty Young cover, like every Marvel number 1 ever from now on. All right, let's pop on over to lunardistribution.com. I'll remind everyone next week it will be worth going to prhcomics.com, look through everything, because there are going to be some things that likely I haven't even seen yet on next week's FOC. And the same thing will happen at lunardistribution.com, but you can at least go to lunardistribution.com right now, scroll down to upcoming FOC, and make sure you're on next week's date, February 23rd, right there, to see the awesome things on FOC. Right now, because a lot of covers haven't been finalized, you're going to notice things like only Absolute Flash 13 cover C is up there. Where's A, B, and D? Hopefully the covers will be uploaded by next week. Reminder, when we do this show, we are doing it the second we can. FOC finalizes Fridays at noon Eastern each week, which means sometimes there are books that are not yet announced, covers that they don't have artwork, things that will change dates. So you're going to get a very early look with us right now on Lunar's FOC for February 23rd. But obviously, Absolute Flash and Adventure Time starting it off. A lot of great books. Obviously, a huge one, though, is going to be part two of Batman Superman World's Finest Day for Night. Issue number 1, a huge drop. People are going to have their minds blown when they read issue 48. So do not skip out on this. This is worth paying attention. You guys will have a few days of sales data and reading time to read issue 48 next week, and you're going to want to read it. Then we get to the big new books. This is a DC-driven week, I'm going to be honest with you. Greg Rucka is back on Batwoman. I loved Greg Rucka writing Batwoman in Detective Comics roughly 28 years ago, I want to say.
Something like that.
Kate Kane is back. Greg Rucka, the perfect writer for this. And then Danny doing wonderful art. The only way it could possibly be better, and I don't know that it'd be better so much as equally as good, would be J.H. Williams III coming back. But I am excited for this combination. I am certain this will be good. If you loved the rebirth and year 1 of Wonder Woman 10 years ago, if you loved Rucka on Batwoman 20 years ago, you're going to love this. Some absolutely astonishing covers. Stepan Sejic, Art Germ, Jorge Corona, and more. This is going to be great. Then, for those of you who love the Bible, I know many of you guys have been waiting 2,000 years for a sequel. Well, wait no more. It's here, The Bible 2. Yeah, I've broken Kyle, because this time Jesus Christ is back, and he's not crucifixing around. This is sacrilegious as all hell, and I can't wait for it. It just looks hilarious. Keep in mind, it's all tongue-in-cheek. It is meant to be comedic. No one's trying to say anything negative about anyone's faith. This is just fun goofiness, and it looks goofy. Original graphic novel by Z.M. Thomas and Amelia Wu. We have broken Kyle. Kyle is broken.
That why?
I needed a sequel. I mean, I ask sometimes why Jurassic Park needed a sequel, but we got it.
I asked the same question. Why? Okay, just take the money and spend it somewhere wiser. Is all I'm saying.
Why is there a Conjuring coloring book? I didn't know The Conjuring had its own universe. I mean, I know Annabelle and the nun thing and all that, but that's a coloring book now.
That's another one of those. That's just unnecessary.
All right. Well, you know what is necessary? This next book, which I didn't think I need, but having read the solicit, I know I need it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to sell me this one.
Dead Teenagers takes the concept of basically Groundhog's Day and mix it with I Know What You Did Last Summer and every 1990s late horror film. It is the tale of a group of teenagers being forced to relive their prom night over and over again, dying in more and more horrifying and out there crazy ways over and over and over again until one day it stops. What does that do to you psychologically? How does that develop you? And what insanity comes out of finally breaking that repetitive cycle? Jude Ellison Doyle and Caitlin Yarsky bring us what has to be the weirdest and yet most intriguing hook of a concept I have had on the FOC show. It is for the fans of Scream and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, tell me that didn't hook you, Kyle. Groundhog's Day Murder Fest.
I am not yet sold, but I'm sold enough that I'm emailing Torma as soon as the show's over. I need a PDF.
Yeah, right?
Because I feel like this is something I will really love, but there's just something about Groundhog Day and a Teenage Murder Fest, and having seen some of these covers, them going, what is actually happening here? And do not tell me fish people, because I've seen tentacles. Okay, so let's. I'm not sold yet, but I'm right on the edge.
There it is. Well, Jude Ellison Doyle is the incredible writer of Maw from Boom Studios, I want to say, and Be Not Afraid. So if you like the horror there, you will likely love this. But I think this is going to bring it to a next level. I really love this pitch. It absolutely has me. Retailers, check your order forms when you're doing orders to get a little bit more confidence on this, because I think this is going to be one that gets some attention. And really quickly, because I have it on screen, I have to show off. You will never get better than Ed Benez doing Omni-Man. Like, it's crazy that Omni-Man looks better than Darkness on the Darkness cover. But
well, it's because Omni-Man believes in a thing called love.
Ooh, well tied into the darkness. All right. Some amazing covers for the upcoming Deathstroke the Terminator #1. We had the incredible Tony Fleece on earlier today. If you didn't get a chance to see that, after we wrap up, go back, watch the interview with Kurt, watch the interview with Tony, learn about Deathstroke the Terminator, and know this is going to be a savage bloodfest battle, all-out craziness with Slade Wilson, the one true mercenary. He's not some rip-off with a mouth. It's all about Deathstroke. Absolutely amazing covers on there. By the way, there was that cover I didn't, that I hinted at but didn't get to show earlier because I screwed up and forgot to hand it to Kyle. It is a 1 in 25 ratio to talk to your retailer about whether or not they're going to get it. But Tony Fleece, 1 in 25, Deathstroke the Terminator cover.
Okay, I have a suggestion. I'm going to throw this out there, and people hear me or don't. We're getting the Detective Comics facsimile there. This week we have a new Batgirl and we have a new Deathstroke. If you're going to do facsimiles, it should be New Teen Titans 2. And it should be 52 week whatever, where it's the first Kate Kane is Batgirl, Batwoman. Right? we do not need another death of the family, facsimile, right? It's so hard to find good copies of New Teen Titans 2 for Deathstroke fans these days. First Kate Kane from, what was it, from 52? I always forget the week, right? But like
5 or 6,
yeah,
7?
something like that. But it's like a $60 book. Make those facsimiles so people can understand what it is that they're jumping into when they buy your new number ones. Don't just give me more, Todd McFarlane, old stuff.
Well, it's get the right thing. Understand the value difference too, because I always find it hilarious when they do a facsimile of a book that you can find in the dollar bins or at a comparable price at your local comic shop. I get that not every local comic shop has back issue bins. Some people who might be watching this in a local comic shop that doesn't. I get that some of these things are not in trade paperback. But it is always a little irksome when you get things like Alpha Flight #1 or the 1992 X-Men #1 put into facsimile, and then somewhere in the shop, about 20 feet away from that new comic on the wall is the original comic at a few dollars.
Yep.
It is nice, however, when you do get something like, say, Ultimate Fallout 4, and there's a $4 option on the shelf, and then the several $100 option up high.
Absolutely.
All right. Actually, I really quickly want to point out the last issue of Disavowed is on FOC this week. If you have not been reading this, this has been amazing. I want people to read this and buy this so that way we can get more Disavowed from Josh Blaylock. All sorts of fun horror from Oni. End of Life #2 on FOC this week. Later this Wednesday, you guys are going to be getting End of Life issue #1. I hope you guys pick it up and give it a read because you will definitely want to come back for #2. We have the penultimate issue to year 1 of Exquisite Corpses. All of the remaining killers of James Tynion and the Corpse Crew's bloodbath are in Town Square ready to end this. Big one. I think this is going to be crazy because I am certain issue 12, since this is supposed to be an ongoing series, is going to give us a hard curveball. So don't miss out. Then I'm wearing the Ghost Machine hoodie, so I got to talk up Geiger 22 with the best covers of the entire opening 2 years of Geiger. Look, we've got everything from Northerner by Gary Frank. We have Lee Koch. Look at that Lee Koch cover. But again, something about those Viltrumites. If you're only watching the Invincible cartoon, you might not understand the absolute insanity of the Emperor of the Viltrumite race, Thrag, being on that cover. But man, if we could convince Jeff to just do a what if and actually give us a Geiger versus Thrag battle, I would love to see who would be wearing whose skin as a coat at the end of that.
Well, and if you read Geiger 21 that came out this week, it's set up and explained a bunch of stuff that's going to be very important going forward, including #TimeTank. So make sure, you keep picking it up. If you go into your shop and try and pick up a 21 from this week. But yeah, 22 is proving to be a very important issue in the overall Geiger arc, because what do we do with the Time Tank?
Everything.
Find out.
Yeah. All right. Here's the thing we've been waiting for. We got the hint of it in Transformers 2. When a Transformer, or rather I should say a Decepticon, slapped away a certain jet. It's finally here. Duke meets the Transformers. Duke meets Optimus Prime in G.I. Joe 20. This is it. It's finally Transformers versus G.I. Joe. I have been waiting years for this. Ever since Skybound relaunched these titles with the Energon universe, I've been wanting the proper G.I. Joe Transformers, and this is it. So make sure you get your orders in. Look at these amazing covers. Amazing covers. I want to point out that is a 1 in 50. Not every comic shop's going to get it. Please reach out to your shop and see if they're going to have the Jorge Corona and how much that's going to cost. But man, That is going to be awesome. A little bit easier with the Invincible crossover. In my opinion, I hate to say this, but I have to point out this is the weakest of the Invincible crossover covers. This is definitely the weakest. But nevertheless, it's there. I don't know what Tom Riley was thinking. He's just like, I don't want a Viltrumite. I don't want a main title character. I'm going to bring the most minor characters from the Invincible universe onto this cover. But hey, at least he has some of the best characters from G.I. Joe in there.
Absolutely.
All right. Big one I am excited about, being a fan of Magma Comics. We have the final issue of Denton Tipton's incredible Hell's Half Acre is on FOC this week with some beautiful, beautiful covers right there. So worth getting a chance if you have not already placed your orders for Hell's Half Acre. Then with all these Invincible crossover covers, this is the book that I've been waiting to talk about. Invincible Universe Battle Beast #7. Cover your ears briefly if you've not read issue 6, which came out several months ago. But at the end of issue 6, we heard Conquest, the evil Viltrumite from the last season of the Invincible TV series, is coming after Battle Beast. So this is where it starts. It is going to be Battle Beast versus Viltrumites, as you get to see on that very, very violent 1 in 10 cover. Yep, Battle Beast may finally meet his match. He doesn't, because this is a prequel to Invincible, but he may finally meet his match against the Viltrumite soldiers. I have been waiting for this. This is exciting. It's Conquest versus Battle Beast. A lot of great covers available on there. And of course, an Invincible crossover one with Battle Beast versus Adam Eve. More Lion King fun as we wrap that up. And then, perhaps one of the more exciting books I can imagine coming from DC, tying into the upcoming Supergirl movie. It is The Last Zarnian getting his big ongoing series. First time I think he's had an ongoing series in 20. No, there was technically a different Lobo about 15 years ago that Cullen Bunn wrote. But the first time we've gotten the main man with an ongoing series in over 30 years, Scotty Young and Jorge Corona bring us Lobo. I can think of no better team.
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying, and I really can't. Scotty Young putting his voice into Lobo is going to be absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. Jorge Corona and Scotty have worked together on a number of things that have made this absolutely amazing and truly have me excited on this. Scotty is promising this is going to be kind of like standalone issues, or like perhaps more like what Kurt Pierce offered, episodic issues where it's not big arcs, and he doesn't have a plan. The big thing he said when he talked to DC is, I don't want a long plan. I want to do things in the moment, have them relevant to what is going on. Everything is in itself, and that has me super excited. It is a bummer we don't get a Scotty Young cover as an open order variant for Lobo, but man, I cannot wait for more Lobo from a guy who loves Lobo. 11 years ago, I was at a convention with Scotty and asked him to do a sketch for me, and everyone was getting the little baby Marvel characters, and I said, hey, I want a DC character. He says, I'll do it, but only if I get to choose the character and you can't say no. And I'm like, okay. And he starts drawing. He's like, see if you can figure out who it is. I'm like, it's Lobo. How did you guess that so quick? Because it's Lobo. You can't. How do you not know the main man? But man, Scotty is a huge fan. We went on talking about Lobo for like 20 minutes. It's crazy. 11 years later, he is the main writer for this book. It is going to be damned good. I am certain. Woo. I know you're excited for Muppets Noir. I believe that comes out next week, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, after the most recent new Muppet show, there is more interest than ever in the Muppets, and Muppet Noir is not exactly what you'd expect with the Muppets, but it's proving to be incredibly fun. And so I am excited for issue 2.
Absolutely. And then if you're a fan of the Teen Titans, or rather the Titans, it's going to be an interesting twist as John Layman leaves the series and New Titans, they added the new to it, is taken over by Tate Bromble. Who is going to be the new team? How are they going to survive the fallout of DCKO and all the insanity of trying to get the entire population of Earth off planet? You'll have to find out in the New Titans starting in issue 33. Meanwhile, Nightwing takes on a new artist in the way of Dennis Cohen, joining Dan Waters for more fun with Dick Grayson in a city called Bloodhaven. All right. We have a brand new Bad Idea from Robert Venditti and Trevor Hairsine in the way of The Machine, spinning out of Ordained, which only has one issue so far out on stands. We're going to have a spinoff. Remember, The Ordained is already picked up for a film, so expect characters like The Machine to have a big role. This could be a key issue for those of you guys who are liking to speculate on the market, and otherwise a fun tale because Robert Venditti doesn't write bad stuff. It's going to be good. Very much has Mother's Milk vibes from The Boys. And if you're missing it, fourth printing of Ordained on FOC next Monday. All right. Then another one that catches my attention, Rafael Garcia's Henchmen. What if working for a supervillain organization was as boring as an entry-level security job at Walmart? That is the pitch here with Peter Murrieta and David Schrader as they tell the tale of a young man working for a supervillain organization. This just, it seems goofy and fun. It kind of reminds me of like Bob, Agent of Hydra for you Deadpool fans. It definitely has some crazy covers, including a naughty nude variant by Zombie Tramp's Dan Mendoza. Odd book for Titan, but it might be a great one for fans of comedic things like Henchmen, not the Henchman from Dark Horse, obviously, or like Bob, Agent of Hydra. So could be a fun one. I think it'll be comedic. Definitely a mature book. Then, of course, Red Coat. And look, there's some great covers on Red Coat. But is there anything greater than Red Coat 17 by Jesus Marino? That is a solid cover. There's a reason I'm wearing the Ghost Machine jacket today. Awesome, awesome books from Ghost Machine on FOC Monday, February 23rd. Then Rick and Morty fans, we have some great Omnibuy on FOC next Monday. All sorts of fun from Bad Idea and Titan. So make sure you check this and check again next week. Keep in mind, there could be some updates. There could be some changes. There's definitely going to be additional covers on various things that will be revealed and displayed next week for the Monday, February 23rd FOC. So pay close attention on those. A lot of great books. Make sure you check out lunardistribution.com as well as prhcomics.com for all of those awesome books that will be on FOC next week. I have to wrap it up there after a quick one in relation to Kyle's key comment. If you're going to do a good facsimile, tie it in. Wonder Woman 31 giving us more tales with Trinity, the daughter of Wonder Woman. So we go back to the origin of Wonder Woman, giving us Wonder Woman #1, second appearance of Wonder Woman after Sensation Comics. Right there, getting a awesome 2026 facsimile edition. So lots of fun on next week's FOC. You're going to want to definitely check back next week. But as we come to a wrap, we're going to do not a top 10. Since we're doing 2 weeks of FOC, we're going to do 2 top 5s. So let's go back to this coming Monday, February 16th, books on Final Order Cutoff, and we're going to do a top 5 of those, as well as our honorable mention, as soon as we can get Kyle on that, which might be a moment. I don't know where we are with that. But, oh, there he is.
Sorry, I was coughing.
No, all good, my friend. So, let's do the February 16th Monday FOC top 5. So, our first up is going to be our honorable mention. I have to, as the Star Wars fan, literally sitting next to original artwork just off camera from Star Wars High Republic Adventures. It's High Republic Adventures Pathfinder. Whether you're a huge Star Wars fan who consumes it all, whether you're a fan of the High Republic, you read all the novels and watched The Young Jedi, or you have never read a Star Wars comic before, if you like the idea of lightsabers and epic adventures, discovering new races and planets, this is going to be the sci-fi book for you. Sci-fi and fantasy combined in Star Wars High Republic Adventures. Pathfinders by the incredible George Mann. Stunning cover by Jake Bartok. Then, number 5 this week, J. Scott Campbell doing Captain Marvel's Dark Past. I mean, anytime J. Scott Campbell gets to do the Miss Marvel uniform, it's great. It sells well. Paul Jenkins doing the interior writing to add to it. This is going to be a good one to have. Then, number 4, it's Tigress Island. How will these women survive this deadly escalade of God knows what exploitation, possibly edging on sexploitation, from the creators of Gehenna? This B cover by EPHK, who does the interiors as well, has my attention. Then, homaging Amazing Adult Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. It is Super Creepshow. Pi Par is doing that great homage, as well as interior storytelling with the writing of Kieran Gillen and Ryan North. I think this will be a fun take on some twisted alternative views of being a superhero. Number 2. I mean, look, the A cover of Dork number 1 is a $75 book. If you didn't listen to us when we interviewed Brett Bean and we told you this was the book to own, I am certain you are regretting it, and I'm hoping you placed an order with your local comic shop for the second printing of number 1. Do not miss out on issue 2 of the highest selling Image book in years. This is going to be huge. Dork issue number 2, particularly that beautiful Invincible cover by writer and interior artist Brett Bean, featuring Alan the Alien and the most inappropriate place to put Battle Beast's face. Then we end it on one of the big twists of the past few months. Assorted Crises event has been out for over a year. It has been the talk of all who love comics. But now it is truly being discovered by everyone as back issues on the aftermarket skyrocket into the double digits. Do not miss out on issue number 9. Issue number 8, the last issue, just a regular cover, is a $35 book now. Order Assorted Crisis Events number 9. It is going to be a much-demanded book. Go grab the trade paperback, which is available, but grab issue number 9, enjoy it, and particularly enjoy this incredible Eric Zawadzki cover. Eric does the interior cart, he does a lot of the A covers, and he's doing this awesome Invincible cover, homaging Crisis on Infinite Earths, the big DC crisis. All right. Man, that's going to be a huge cover. So those are the big top 5 for February 16th. Now let's jump a week forward. Remember, we talked about at the beginning of the show all the books that are on FOC this Monday, February 16th. You want to get your orders in right away to your local comic shop for those. But go ahead and get ahead, because we won't be back next week. But we went over all the books on FOC for February 23rd, and here are my top 5, starting with our honorable mention. The honorable mention, Magic the Gathering, Untold Stories, Jace. I'm a big Magic fan, so I'm again the honorable mention. Well, it doesn't make the top 5. I think it's going to be good. I think Michael Conrad is a brilliant writer. He is somebody I definitely consider bringing on as a guest and will likely have at some point in the future. Jace Bellerin, the iconic Planeswalker, gets an origin tale. You get to see him with all sorts of people like Tezzeret, Vraska, and more. This will be a fun one. And a stunning, stunning cover by Alexei Briklot. Number 5, it's an homage to that classic movie. And if you don't get this, big mistake. Big mistake. It is a Pretty Woman homage by Caitlin Yarsky, who is doing the interiors of this awesome book, Dead Teenagers. I think it's going to be a haunting book. If you're a fan of recent modern horror comics, I think this one will pique your interest. Then, Batwoman. Greg Rucka is back on Batwoman, so you know it's just going to be good content, because Miss Kane, she's not Bruce Wayne. She is not going to pull her punches. And Stepan Cedric never pulls his punches with art. That is a stunning cover you're going to want. In spot 3, It took a few years, but we got there. Duke and the G.I. Joes meet up with Optimus Prime and the Transformers starting in G.I. Joe 20. Joshua Williamson writing this event that I'm certain he has been chomping at the bit to do. It's here. And that A cover by Tom Reilly featuring the two of them, that's going to be the best, easiest cover to order and the cover everyone's going to want. Then Deathstroke, the Terminator. There's a reason I brought Tony onto the show today. I am beyond excited about this book. Tony is a super talented writer. He is going to shock you all. This is going to be unlike any of the other things he's writing. Your jaw will be on the floor, and hopefully you'll be able to pick it back up to go purchase the Dan Panosian cover of this, because Dan Panosian, that is hauntingly beautiful. And then finally, number one. Of course, he's the last Zarnian. There's no way he couldn't have been number one. There's no place to put him but. The main man himself lands with his A cover by Jorge Corona. It is Lobo number one, written by Scotty Young, drawn by Jorge Corona. It is going to be something else. Look, I thought when they cast Jason Momoa for Lobo that they could do no better. And I was proven wrong, because Scotty Young and Jorge Corona will be the one putting Lobo at the height of his game, better than even the days of Alan Grant and Keith Giffen and all of that. All right. So those are the top 5 for February 23rd. I want to remind everyone again, reach out to your local comic shop. You can tell them the stuff you want on the February 23rd FOC right now. They'll love you for it. But also check back to both prhcomics.com and lunardistribution.com next week, so that way you can make sure you have all of the things that are on FOC February 23rd with any updates or changes they might provide, because they might do that next Friday. Now, with that said, me and Kyle will be off next week. Just that reminder. But we'll be back in 2 weeks with more incredible FOC stuff. And you'll likely see Kyle on the EXP despite an exhausting schedule. So if you can, send that man some caffeine and a little bit of love in the comments. Some likes on his videos. He's going to need it.
Or some cash by buying stuff. So we will see everybody next week here on the EXP. We've got a ton of great stuff the rest of the night. Make sure you tune in for next art show and all the other stuff coming. We will see you all on down the line.